into Joe Montana's favorite receiver. He leads the club with 18 receptions, and 3 of those have been of the touchdown variety as well. For a profile of this multiple threat, our own Dennis Kirkpatrick.
Roger Craig's teammates know just how good he is. So do his opponents. And in the Super Bowl on January 20th, millions of fans also discovered Roger Craig in the 49ers' victory over Miami.
Playing in the Super Bowl is something that every back would love to play in, and you want to shine in something like that. So when you do, you're going to get the kind of recognition, and you have to hold on to it as far as keep playing well and just try and play consistent.
The Super Bowl was a normal game by Roger Craig's standards. His 58 yards rushing and 7 catches were consistent with his play all season. But his 3 touchdowns thrusted him into the limelight. I'm
getting more exposure as far as being on posters and different things like that, and getting more attention. But I try not to really worry about that too much, because I have other things to worry about as far as doing my job for the 49ers.
Craig is an all-purpose back, equally dangerous blocking, running, and receiving, perfectly suited for the multi-dimensional San Francisco offense.
He has great stamina and durability. He's an excellent athlete, and he thrives on football. He loves it. He enjoys it. With all those factors, there wasn't any question that he could develop into one of the top running backs in the game.
After 3 games this season, Craig leads the league in scoring, leads the 49ers in receiving, and is the team's #2 rusher. Just as importantly, he is durable. In this, his 3rd season, Craig has never missed a game.
If you don't keep your work habits up, you're going to tend to get injured. So I just like to, try to keep working hard and don't forget what got me there, and that's working hard.
As the fame of his Super Bowl performance fades, Roger Craig has fallen back into his less glorified consistency. But because of that Super Bowl, more people are taking notice. Dennis Kirkpatrick, CNN, Redwood City, California.
However, the Raiders used the turnover to their own advantage. Tony Eason victimized by Lester Hayes. He steps up and gallops 27 yards for the TD, and at that point in the first quarter, it's 7-3 Los Angeles. Eason, however, before the first quarter ends, would come back. Off the shotgun. Receivers initially covered. He steps up, and then Irving Fryer breaks free. Wide open, makes a lunging catch. Into the end zone he goes, and then he celebrates with some of the fans as the Pats go in front, 10-7. Wilson back as they seesaw. It becomes 14-10 Raiders, still in the first quarter on this Dokie Williams catch. A 38-yarder. Coverage had to have been missed. He was so all alone near the goal line. And now another mistake for the Raiders. The snap from Trey Junkin is high. Ray Guy can't handle it. Tries to come up with it, can't. Don Blackman, number 55, wipes Guy out. Andre Tippett picks up the ball and goes in 25 yards for the touchdown. 20-14. Defeat at the Orange Bowl in Miami behind them. Seattle, normally a team that has a huge positive differential when it comes to the giveaway, takeaway table, has seen things reversed on them the past couple of games. 5 turnovers Monday against the Rams. 4 in the first half alone today. Danny Green fumbles the punt. The Chiefs recover at the 4. A couple of plays later, Herman Hurd gets the call. He takes it in, 2-yard touchdown run, and it's 7-0 in favor of Kansas City. Still in the first quarter, Stephon Page, playing in place of the injured Carlos Carson, makes a fine grab on this 34-yarder from Bill Kenny in between 2 defenders, makes it 14-0 Chiefs. Kenny scored on a 1-yard quarterback sneak before the half ended.
Hey, well, this might be the time to do it.
And he hands off to Marcus Allen. The good news for Rusty is that Henry Lawrence is back in at right tackle. He left a moment ago.
Where the Super Bowl champion 49ers are gunning for their 3rd straight win. They play host to the New Orleans Saints. The new star in the 49er attack is Roger Craig, who already has scored 6 touchdowns to lead the NFC in that category.
This is what Chicago Bears for the 49ers, Jimmy. But, I think you had a blessing in disguise when you lost their opening game to Minnesota, because they're playing every game now like there's a sense of urgency about it. They're the best team in football. They'll go back to the Super Bowl.
Joe Montana.
Don't change it.
Before we continue this discussion on the relative merits of the Rams and the 49ers in the race for the Super Bowl, let's take you to the scoreboard. At the moment, this is live, remember, the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Oilers are deadlocked at 10 in the Battle of Texas. And, folks, it has been that, the Battle of Texas. Irv, here comes Randy White.
Boy, Randy White tattoos Warren Moon here, hits him on the shoulder. Moon came into the game with a bad hand, coughed it up. Cowboys came up with a recovery.
Now watch Tony Dorsett. He has gained more than 100 yards this afternoon, and the Cowboys usually win. This is his best gain of the day, the 30-yarder on the quick move. And that set up this touchdown pass. Danny White goes on the quick drop to Timmy Newsom. And the Cowboys had scored first. And it looked like it was going to be relatively easy until this play. Warren Moon, Drew Hill, the former Ram, 57 yards for the score. Then Houston comes back, blocks a punt, kicks a field goal. And a sidebar in that game, Raphael Septien, for the first time in his career, has missed 4 field goals. Fourth quarter in Philadelphia. Hilger has gone in to replace the injured Mark Wilson. Passed by Tommy Kramer in that. Lynn Dickey was pressed back into service. Chiefs have been all over the Seahawks this afternoon, leading 23-9 over the Bucs. They led Chicago 10-0. The Bears have now scored 38 unanswered points for Mike Ditka. And this was the key. Willie Gault is about to haul back a kickoff following a field goal, 99 yards. This is the longest return ever for the Bears. Jeff Hayes, the kicker, missed him, injured a thigh, and that set up the following sequence. 3 downs and out. No punter for Washington. Joe Theismann says, I'll try. Here is his first and his last NFL punt. 2 yards, and the Bears get remarkable field position, and they cash right back in. Then how about this player?
A little schoolyard play. McMahon handing a ball off to Walter Payton. Payton, not a runner, but a passer, throwing the ball back to Jim McMahon for a 13-yard touchdown.
Joe Theismann and Joe Gibbs just couldn't understand it. They've been stuffed repeatedly, and now McMahon going straight back, comes back down the right sideline, and there is Walter Payton, 33 yards for a Bear touchdown. Theismann, Riggins and Wansley, they can't get 4th downs 3 times. On 4th and short, that Bear defense has stood tall. Are hoping it stays that way. They're sold out as usual, and here comes lowly New Orleans.
Yeah, deep to Rice, and Craig and Tyler will run like crazy. I mean, the special teams, they got the headliners. They got the only thing that New Orleans has got.
I can't keep up with you. Slow down.
Yeah, but the only thing that New Orleans has got going for them is there might be a letdown for the 49ers, and they'll only score like 41
I
to
want to
20.
give New Orleans a check. I'll give them that intangible, right?
41 to 20. Let's give them a score on that.
All right, Jimmy.
6th round draft pick. 3rd and goal from the 2. Raiders have not done it in 3rd down situations. And here is Hilger directing traffic. And let's see. Touchdown. Todd Christensen.
A ball-hungry defense that has regained its playoff form. A running game that ranks #1 in the National Football League, led by Roger Craig. And a passing game that always seems to find its way into the end zone. The 49ers are on a roll. For the New Orleans Saints, the roll continues. Today, it's the Saints and the 49ers.
CBS Sports 49ers.
It's the 34th consecutive sellout at Candlestick Park for the 49ers, 2-1 on the year against the Saints, 1-2. It is overcast here in San Francisco, and the lights are on as we start this game. And Morten Anderson getting set to kick off for the Saints. 49ers receiving. Derek Harmon and Carl Monroe are back, and it's Harmon on the 4-yard line running it up. And Harmon is held up at about the 22-yard line by Johnny Poe. It's a bit cool and nippy, and the fans have come prepared. The weather conditions here at San Francisco as we start this game. And we take a look at the offense. Dick Stockton with Wayne Walker here for game number 4 of the season.
And we'll see a lot of Jerry Rice along with that unit. They've been featuring him more and more.
Familiar offensive line, and the important thing is that they have stayed healthy indeed. 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. On 1st down, Montana hits Dwight Clark wide open. And he has a 1st down to the 42-yard line, and so the Niners come out strong with an 18-yard pickup, and this is the defense they will attack today.
And Clark, a quality player, Pro Bowler, over on the left side. The Niners will stay away from him.
Another tough defensive player on the left side.
Ricky Jackson, who lines up over there also.
And a change in the secondary for the Saints this week.
Terry Hogue will be starting at strong safety for Russell Gary.
An 18-yard pickup, 1st and 10 at the 42. This time it's Wendell Tyler who gets to about the 46-yard line, and a gain of 4 yards on the play. The tackle is made by Tony Elliott in the middle. So Wendell Tyler on the handoff from Joe Montana, who's coming off his best day of the year. And the 49ers will have a 2nd down and 6. What's the plan against the Saints today if you're Bill Walsh?
Well, I think they're going to stay on the ground a lot more than normal. They've had success in the past running against New Orleans.
They fake a run. Montana has time, and he overthrows Dwight Clark.
Dave Waymer was covering on the play, and just a high throw by Joe Montana.
New Orleans plays a lot of zone defense, and they're hard to get the ball deep on. The long scoring passes. If you are successful throwing the ball against them, it's usually when they're blitzing in man-for-man coverage or playing the short ball.
Speaking about Dwight Clark, he has extended his streak to 76 consecutive games that he has caught a pass, and he did it in a hurry. So the 49ers face a 3rd and 6 on their own 46-yard line. Wide receiver split left. Montana has time again. And it's off the hands of Wendell Tyler. Defending was Whitney Paul on the play. Tyler was open, just couldn't hold on. And it's 4th down, and Max Runeker will come in to kick.
And Tyler was going nowhere anyway because Whitney Paul was right there as the ball arrived.
Runeker had an extraordinary day against the Raiders last week, averaging nearly 46 yards. And a sensational return man, rookie Eric Martin, is back for the Saints. He leads the NFL in kickoff returns. Pretty good in punt returns as well. Runeker's kick. And Martin at the 10. And the rookie from LSU brings it out to the 24-yard line, where the tackle is made by Dana McLemore. So let's check the Saints offense right now, and a familiar name, Earl Campbell.
Yes, and Dave Wilson, the quarterback who has had 2 good games after just a horrendous start, gaining confidence.
This is where the Saints have the problem, the offensive line.
New starters at both guards and at center. Injuries last week wiped out 3 of their starting offensive linemen.
Dave LaFari is playing left tackle. Petey Perot, of course, is the ex-Philadelphia Eagle, who was the last cut. But Dave Wilson, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, brings them out 1st and 10 at the 23. Earl Campbell on the pitch. Campbell gets to the 25. And the tackle is by Todd Shell, who had a terrific game against the Raiders last week.
The 3 starting down linemen, but I think we'll see a lot of Fred Dean today. The 49ers want to get him untracked.
Keena Turner seems to be healthy.
He's back. He did not play last week, and he's about 90% with ankles.
And the same group, and they all were Pro Bowlers last year in the secondary. 2nd down and 7 after the gain of 3 at the 26-yard line. Eugene Goodlow is split out to the left, and that rookie from LSU, Eric Martin, wide right. Campbell is the lone setback. Dave Wilson up the middle, completes it to Hobie Brenner, the tight end. He's got the 1st down just short of the 35-yard line. Dwight Hicks was defending on the play. Ricky Ellison was there. A 9-yard pickup and a good catch by Brenner.
Well, Brenner uses his body extremely well. He's a big guy, about 6'5", about 240, and he's kind of like a rebounder. See him get his body in front of Ricky Ellison there and then screen him off from the ball.
Brenner and Eric Martin to combine for the receiving lead on the Saints. And Dave Wilson, whose confidence has risen dramatically after a nightmarish opener when he was 2 for 22 in the opening game of the year. Jeff Groth in motion for the Saints. The pitch to Earl Campbell. Campbell hit rock hard, shy of the 35-yard line, and a tremendous hit by Manu Tuiasosopo with Dwight Hicks coming up from the secondary. But you could hear that all the way up here.
I'll tell you, this guy has been playing good football for the 49ers for the past 2 years. 78 nose tackle. Watch him hustle down the line. Great movement for a man that big.
Good play by Manu, and of course Michael Carter has lost at least 4 weeks on injured reserve with a torn hamstring. So Tuiasosopo, who came over from Seattle last year, called upon again. 2nd down and 10 at the 34. No gain on that play. And they give it to Hokie Gajan on a draw. Gajan brings it out to the 39-yard line. They'll be shy of a 1st down by about 5 yards. Once again, Tuiasosopo and the middle inside backer Ricky Ellison combined to make the stop. Bum Phillips celebrating his 62nd birthday today, and certainly didn't dress special for the occasion, did he, Wayne?
That's his garb. That's how he's comfortable.
3rd down and 5 at the 39. 3 wide receivers in there now for the Saints, and they send Gajan in motion. Pressure on Wilson, and it's Jeff Fuller. It was a incomplete pass, but Jeff Fuller blitzing from the secondary. Nobody picked him up, and Wilson had no shot.
Exactly right. He's on the right side of the screen in a 2-point position, and he'll come wide open. No one picks him up. There he is, coming in a seam. He lined up almost on the line of scrimmage and then fired in.
Is it risky, Wayne, without any backs with Gajan in motion, that a blitz is really going to kill you there?
Well, you'd like to be able to, if you're a quarterback, pick it up an audible, but Wilson didn't that time or couldn't.
Brian Hansen, who was a Pro Bowler last year in his rookie season, will do the kicking. Dana McLemore is back for the 49ers. End over end. Bounces at the 35, and it's going to drop right there. And so each team has had the ball, and we have no score. We'll be back to Candlestick Park. For the 49ers, even though they've dominated New Orleans.
Especially tough defensively at the start of games. Walsh says that New Orleans has done a better job on them and through 3 quarters than anyone.
First down and a running play to Roger Craig for just a couple as the series starts from the 21-yard line. Dallas is leading Houston 17-10 after Houston came back and tied the game at 10. There's a tie in overtime at Veterans Stadium between the Giants and the Eagles. The Raiders leading New England 28-20 in the 4th quarter. And Minnesota, after squandering a lead against Buffalo, has it again 27-20 in the 4th quarter at Rich Stadium. Second down and 7 at the 24 for the 49ers. Montana to throw and drills it. But it's a little bit wide for Dwight Clark, and Dave Waymer covering on the play. Incomplete will be 3rd down and 7. St. Louis coming back from their loss to the Giants. Detroit.
Eric Hipple with the touchdown pass and then ran one in at the end of that game.
And look at this one. The Chicago Bears really rolling it on the slumping Washington Redskins, and there's a team with problems. 3rd down and 7 at the 24. No score. We have 9 minutes and 56 seconds to go first quarter. Montana back to the 15. Rushed by James Geathers. Gets it away. Incomplete. Wendell Tyler was the intended receiver, and Frank Watlett, the free safety, was defending. And James Geathers, the second-year defensive lineman, almost got to Montana.
Yes, he did. A couple pretty good defensive sequences here by New Orleans to start out this game. They run Montana out of the pocket left. He'll throw it on the run to Tyler, but to no avail.
You talked about how tough the Saints are defensively against the 49ers. They've proved it here on 2 series, and here's Max Runeker in to kick for the 2nd time. Gets off a good high kick. Eric Martin chases it, but it'll go out of bounds. The Saints will have decent field position, however, and let's see where they'll mark it. It'll be just about at the 45, their own 45-yard line. The 49ers have beaten NFC West teams 9 straight times. The last time Bum Phillips and the Saints beat the 49ers was the game following the players' strike in 1982, and they beat Bill Walsh and the 49ers right here at Candlestick Park. We have one other final score to show you. Kansas City bounces back and beats Seattle, sending the Seahawks to their 2nd straight loss. 1st and 10 at the 45 for Dave Wilson and the Saints. Gajan in motion. Earl Campbell carries. And Earl Campbell fumbles, and the Niners recover. Ronnie Lott recovered the fumble.
That's the left guard, Petey Perreault, and the left tackle, Dave LaFari, come around and get good blocks. Campbell breaks into the open. Let's see how he loses it. Ronnie Lott just reached in and looked like he stripped it away as he was coming off a block. New Orleans had something good going there.
So Ronnie Lott, who had his first interception of the season last week against the Raiders, is alert right there. And now the 49ers have the ball on their own 44-yard line. 1st and 10. Bill Ring is in the slot. The pitch goes left to Wendell Tyler, and Tyler is hit after a gain of about 3. Jim Wilkes and Tony Elliott up front make the stop for the Saints. Tony Elliott, who had a rough outing in his first 2 games, came back in the 3rd game against Tampa Bay last week.
New formation there for the 49ers that no one has seen this year. They call it double east, 3 tight ends and Bill Ring, and it almost looks like all 11 guys are up on the line of scrimmage offensively. Look at it again here.
Yet another formation from Bill Walsh's repertoire, and it opens up a big hole for Tyler. Tyler has a 1st down into New Orleans territory at the 44-yard line. Glenn Red and Terry Ho combine to make the tackle, and a good block from John Ayers at left guard. Tyler, best game last year was against these Saints when he gained 117 yards. First and 10 for San Francisco at the St. 45. By the way, Jim Farnhorst has a strained knee. He may return for San Francisco.
And that power run situation now the 49ers are, but this time they'll throw.
Montana in trouble, and Whitney Paul gets him from behind. That's the 4th quarterback sack of the year for Whitney Paul, and it ties him with Ricky Jackson for the club leadership.
So they've shown this double east, as they call formation, 3 times now, run twice of it. Get New Orleans thinking that way, and this time it's Montana straight drop back. Whitney Paul on a blitz from the right side, though, captures Montana. And as I said, New Orleans will play him tough.
Second down and 14. Frank Warren replaces Tony Elliott at nose tackle. Wendell Tyler and Ricky Jackson penetrated nicely. Jim Wilkes was also there. And right now, other than that first play, the 18-yard gain to Dwight Clark, the 49ers are struggling offensively early in the game, and we have 7:40 to play in the first.
This is the way that the San Francisco-New Orleans games usually look. New Orleans stays right with them for like about 3 quarters, and then a couple big plays in the 4th period have kind of turned the games around for Bill Walsh and his team.
Bill Walsh says if he can get up on the Saints like 14-0, maybe they might cave in because they're not used to being on the right side of things. Third down and 14. Nickel backs are in for the Saints. And Russ Francis is unable to hold on to the ball, and that nickel back we were telling you about, Brett Maxey, was defending on the play. So once again, Max Runeker will come in and punt for the 3rd time. Eric Martin is deep for the Saints. That of LSU is a 7th-round draft pick. Going for the near sideline. But Eric Martin will field it on the 10-yard line. And he is hit at the 15, make it the 20-yard line. And the tackle there is made by John Frank. We'll be back. One of the more critical areas where injuries really hurt you is the offensive line, and that's what Bum Phillips is facing this week, and his feeling about that when we talked with him yesterday.
Well, he faces up to the problem pretty well. He says that you can't let the team think that it's a problem or that luck is against us because we're getting injuries like that. He said the bottom line in the long run is whether you win or lose, and you can win with the people that you suit up with.
He was 8-8 2 years ago, 7-9 last year, 1-2 right here. 7:04 remaining in the first quarter. 1st and 10 at the 20. Gajan in motion. Earl Campbell up the middle. And Campbell gets to about the 25-yard line. Jeff Stover making the tackle on the play. Dallas beats Houston 17-10. Danny White to Fred Cornwell, and in overtime the Giants win.
And it was Elvis Patterson for the Giants, returned an interception, 21 yards, that won that one.
So the Giants are 3-1. The Minnesota Vikings beat Buffalo 27-20. Vikings go against the Rams next week, and Chicago remains undefeated, and the Redskins drop to 1-3. Second down and 6, the ball at the 24. Dave Wilson getting some pressure, fires. Intended for Eric Martin, who was covered by Hicks and Lott back there. Eric Martin facing 2 of the finest defenders in the NFL in the secondary.
A good throw, but a dangerous throw. Hicks might have a chance at this one. But Wilson rifled it in, and number 22 was there to get a hand on it, along with Eric Martin.
49ers went the first 2 games without an interception, and then Todd Shell and Ronnie Lott picked passes off last week. Third down and 7. Fuller and McLemore are in the nickel package. 3 wide receivers in there for the Saints. Wilson steps up and hits Hokie Brenner, and Brenner has a first down. So they found the underneath seam to the tight end. Hicks and Shell make the stop, 18 yards to Hokie Brenner, who, by the way, caught the winning touchdown for the Saints last week.
Had 8 catches coming into this game. That was tied for the team lead. And he uses that body again. He knows how to work around those linebackers and find open spots and then use his size.
Tight end who really has the whole package. He can block, he can catch, and he can run. Torrey Nixon, the rookie who was acquired from Washington, replaces Carlton Williamson for the 49ers. 1st and 10 at the 42. Wilson and Eric Martin dropped the ball. He had beaten Wright going on a post pattern and just dropped it incomplete.
Surprising, too, because Bum Phillips and the New Orleans coaching staff said that Eric Martin, the young rookie, is a gamer. He plays better in games than he does in practice. He had that one right in his hands.
He had 4 catches for 53 yards against Tampa Bay, and he really electrified the crowd with a 51-yard kickoff return. But that went for naught, and it's 2nd down and 10 for the Saints on their own 42 with 5:38 remaining in the first quarter. 2 tight ends for the Saints. One of them, John Tice, goes in motion, powered to Gajan, and Ronnie Lott forcing the running play from the cornerback position, stops Gajan at the 43. Dwayne Board and Mike Walter get credit for the tackle, but Lott helped.
Lott is coming across the formation along with the motion man. Here's a toss to Gajan. Lott will come up from the outside, doesn't get all of it. Pretty good play in there by Dwayne Board, number 76, with that main hit in there. Lott, I think, is playing strong safety now. Torrey Nixon at the corner because Carlton Williamson, his normal strong safety, has a dislocated finger. That may be the problem.
He had padding on his hand, but maybe it hasn't been adequate enough, and so he's out of there. 5 minutes to go, 3rd down and 8. Out of the shotgun for the Saints. And here come the Niners. Wilson to Martin, complete, 1st down. And a quick bang-bang play by the Saints. And a 12-yard pickup to Eric Martin, who beat Eric Wright to the sideline. And a 1st and 10 for the Saints at the 44.
Safety blitz, too, and the Saints picked it up extremely well. Lott came in from the left side that time and was picked up, and Wilson had it right on the money for Eric Martin.
So we get a glimpse of the good hands of Eric Martin, who really has been a pleasant surprise for the Saints. They really haven't had a speed burner so much. They have Goodlow and Eric Martin. There's Ronnie Lott, shaken up momentarily. 1st and 10 at the 45. Wilson to throw on 1st down. Going up on top for Goodlow. And it's intercepted. Dwight Hicks. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line by Hokie Gajan. Dwight Hicks runs it back 25 yards. The veteran of the secondary with a big interception.
We talked about Wilson making a dangerous throw earlier. This one's just about the same. Now Hicks playing a marvelous center field out here. He covers so much ground when the ball's in the air. Wilson didn't think he could get there, but he did. He made the play on Goodlow, helping out Eric Wright. Hicks will bait you back there. He'll let the quarterback think that the guy's open and then make up that yardage on him while the ball is in the air. That's the way a good center fielder free safety plays it.
49ers 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line. Wendell Tyler up the middle. They're going for the ball. Tyler protects it and moves it out to the 35, where Terry Hogue makes the tackle and an 8-yard pickup for Tyler. So 2 turnovers by the Saints, and let's see if the 49ers can capitalize. With 4:20 remaining in the first quarter, still no score between New Orleans and San Francisco. 2nd down and 2 now at the 35. Joe Montana has missed his last 5 passing attempts. He goes to Tyler, and that'll be close to a 1st down. Tyler hit immediately by Jim Wilkes at the line and Glenn Red, who has been one of the 2 inside linebackers. Dennis Winston starting again. Jim Kovac is out with a knee injury, and of course Red has been in there. They're shy of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down. Clark goes out, and John Frank comes in on a double tight end alignment. Third down and 1 at the 37. Tyler. It'll be close. Glenn Red came up to meet him. Joe Montana keeping the ball largely on the ground here in the first 3 or 4 series of this game.
Well, Bill Walsh told us when we talked to him on Friday at the practice that, you know, they'd probably throw a little bit early. Maybe 4 out of the first 6 would be passes, and then from then on they were going to see what they could do on the ground, and that is the way it's unfolded here.
They're going to measure, of course. What the 49ers like to do is, you know, go up on top and get some points and then run the ball in the second half with the lead. As you see, the 49ers have indeed the 1st down. So they'll maintain possession with 3:19 to go in the first quarter.
He feels if you run the ball a lot in the first half that all you're doing is just keeping the game close.
Keeping the other team in there. Of course, on the other side, Bum Phillips may say, let's keep the ball away from the 49ers and control it. Difference of philosophy. At the 38, first down, Montana. That pass was behind Russ Francis. So Joe now has missed his last 6 passing attempts.
Well, he had some people in his face that time. New Orleans gets a good push. Their nose guy, Tony Elliott, the nose tackle, is kind of a guy they call a slugger. Gets a good push, and he was back there 3 or 4 yards that time and had Fred Quillen back there with him, and Montana kind of had to throw around a pile.
There's Tony Elliott, whose asset is quickness. Forced to start when Derlin Moore went on injured reserve. 2nd and 10 now at the 38. Tyler. Glenn Red got a hold of him, and Tyler got another couple of yards out to the 43-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and about 5 for the 49ers. Glenn Red.
Counter play that time, and one of the guys leading that play was the right offensive tackle, Keith Fahnhorst. Came all the way around, pulled left.
3rd down and 4. Already Tyler has carried 8 times in this first quarter with less than 2.5 minutes to play. Freddie Solomon to the top of your screen. Dwight Clark at the bottom. Pressure. Swing pass to Craig. See if he has the first down. Whitney Paul chased him out of bounds. And they're going to be shy of the first down, and so Max Runeker will come in and kick. So Roger Craig on the receiving end. He's the leading receiver for the 49ers for the first time today.
Montana was a little upset with Roger Craig that time by the manner he came off the field, and Craig really didn't get after that first down marker over there.
Runeker kicking again. Martin will watch this one. Takes a 49er roll out of bounds inside the 5-yard line, and they're going to mark it on the 1.5. Score with 2:06 to play in the first quarter, and Carlton Williamson, the 49er strong safety who went out briefly, is now back in the ball game, and Max Runeker with a sensational 51-yard coffin corner kick has hemmed in the Saints to their own 2.
Now, they were saying last week that Bum Phillips and King Hill, his offensive coordinator, opened things up a little bit more. If that is the case, maybe a play action pass here.
Obi Brenner moving. Gajan doesn't quite reach the 5-yard line. Gajan is the leading rusher for the Saints. Check some scores for you. The Raiders come back and beat New England. In the fourth quarter, Cardinals still with a healthy lead over the Packers.
A big day by Neil Lomax.
Denver jumps ahead of Miami.
Battle of the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks anyway in that one.
San Diego jumps ahead of the Browns. 2nd down and 8. Wilson finds Goodlow. Couldn't hold on to it. Eric Wright defending on the play. It'll be 3rd and 8.
It's a great call. It's the kind of call that we talked about, that it is not a conservative call, and Dave Wilson right on the money to Goodlow.
The Jets lead Indianapolis 6-0 in the first quarter. They have rebounded nicely from their opening game loss to the Raiders.
This helps to get your people back, right? Those offensive linemen they were missing.
Norb Hecker, the linebacker coach. Jim Rourke replaces Petey Perot at left guard for New Orleans. 3rd and 8, back at the 4. Wilson completes it to Grove. He may have a first down. Let's see where they spot it. And they may not.
I think it's just short.
Ronnie Lott defending on the play to a reliable possession receiver in Jeff Grove. And they are short by about a yard. And it'll be 4th down. How did the 49ers play this?
Number 49, you'll see right there, Jeff Fuller in on the nickel situation at safety. They blitz him. Stover comes in 72. Shell number 90. It was an all-out blitz by the 49ers, and Wilson did a pretty good job avoiding it.
Brian Hansen led the NFC, averaging over 43 last year. Dana McLemore is back in the 49ers. Barring a mistake, should get good field position in the scoreless game with less than a minute to play in the first quarter. Here's McLemore. He's going to let it drop. And it rolls into San Francisco territory, but the 49ers will take it at the 43-yard line. So a 46-yard punt by Hansen, no return. The 49ers will have good field position with 20 seconds remaining. Next Saturday on CBS Sports College Football, you'll see one of these two games. Michigan State against Iowa, big one.
All those teams won yesterday, too. Michigan State won, and Iowa won big, 57-3 over Iowa State.
Or Arizona State and UCLA, and boy, did Arizona State really put it on the Trojans.
Shut out USC, 24-0.
Next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, college football on CBS. 1st and 10 at the 43, Montana. Jerry Rice cutting across the middle. And again, you saw Ricky Jackson storming in on Joe Montana.
Featuring more and more every week against the zone right here. You see the deep safety back there, the free safety. Rice makes his cut in front of him. And we've seen about 4 or 5 passes drop. Both sides now, no excuse.
Rice had his finest day in his short pro career with 3 big receptions. He's become the big yardage man, the big play man for the 49ers. 2nd down and 10 at the San Francisco 43. Wendell Tyler follows Randy Cross into Saints territory at the 49-yard line. An 8-yard pickup, and it'll be 3rd and a couple as the clock winds down. And that'll do it for the first quarter here at Candlestick Park. No score between the Saints and the 49ers.
Who has expanded your TV picture by adding 4 new corners? It's RCA. Introducing RCA's picture window TVs. Sleek, slender screens with full corner-to-corner picture. They're all picture. All RCA ingenuity. And as pretty off as on. The new picture window TVs in new larger screen sizes from RCA. Technology that excites the senses.
Now, as I understand it, Bobby, in baseball, you keep your players in a bullpen, choke your bats, and steal bases?
That's right, Freddie, and just about everybody drinks light beer from Miller.
Oh, this is the one that's less filling.
Right again, and that's important to an old base stealer like me, and it tastes great.
Certainly does. Now, about these bases, mate, how many did you steal?
681.
Wow. 681? Blimey, where do you keep them all?
Light beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
And so far, they haven't produced all that much as we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker. Bum Phillips on the opposite side. Joe Montana, 2 for 9 for 22 yards.
But he's the kind of guy that a bad start doesn't bother him.
Roger Craig in the backfield with Bill Ring. 3rd down and 2 at the 49. And it's Craig looking for the opening. Knocked back. And it's awfully close. The Saints, a hard-hitting defensive team, and Dennis Winston, good a head knocker as you'll find in his 9th year, hit Roger Craig, and they appear to be short of a first down by less than a yard. And once again, the Saints defense is held, Wayne.
Well, they're a tough defense, and they play hard. I will always say one thing about a team that Bum Phillips puts out on the field. They play hard for him.
Max Runneker punting for the 5th time, and the sun shines brightly here on the grass field at Candlestick Park. Eric Martin is back. It's off a good kick. He got it inside the 2. Derek Harmon downs it, heads down it to Milt McCall at the 1.
Great special teams play by Derek Harmon.
Harmon knocked it into the playing area, and Milt McCall downed it right there. Harmon set the tone last week with 2 jarring tackles against the Raiders. Let's bring up to date. Final score, the Cardinals beat the Packers. They're 3-1. First quarter, no score between the Rams and the Falcons. Second quarter game now that moved into the second. Denver and Miami are all tied at 7 in the first quarter at Mile High Stadium. And San Diego in the second quarter leading Cleveland 7-0. It's been a while since Miami and Denver have met.
I heard it snowed 5 inches in Denver last night. That's got to favor the Broncos.
We're getting to that time of year. 1st and 10 at the 2. Gajan out to about the 5. So for the second straight time, the Saints have to start on their own 2-yard line. Making the tackle was Michael Walter. In the first quarter, the Saints actually outgained the 49ers 71-60. The Niners had the edge rushing. The Saints had the edge passing. So apparently they have opened up their game somewhat. Second down and 7. Hardy in motion. Gajan is hit by Ricky Ellison as he lines it out to the 9-yard line.
3 tight ends in the game. Ricky Ellison said, I can hardly wait to play in this game. He said, when I was growing up, he said, Earl Campbell was making all those yards. He's number 50. He said, now I get a chance to see if I can tackle him. That wasn't him, but that was Hokie Gajan. But I guarantee you, Ellison can tackle just about anybody. He loves to play.
We saw Norb Hecker on the sideline before. He said, of course, last week would be Ricky Ellison's kind of game, and it was. 13 tackles, most of those against Marcus Allen, his personal best. 3rd and 3 at the 9. Fred Dean is in the ball game now, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Hobie Brenner, the tight end, and Todd Shell, the linebacker, defending back there. This is an important game, I guess, for Fred Dean.
He was very discouraged about his performance last week. He had arthroscopic knee surgery earlier this year and really didn't have much of a training camp. Didn't play any of the preseason games and hasn't got it together yet. And he was really doubting himself the first this week. He wondered whether maybe I've lost it all. Bill Walsh brought him and said, you haven't lost it all, but you're going to have to get after it a little bit more than normal.
Dana McLemore is back. Brian Hansen will punt from the end zone. This is the 8th punt of the ball game. Penalty marker is down. McLemore at his own 46 is tackled in the New Orleans territory at the 48 by Terry Hogue, but there was a penalty marker down. 44-yard punt, and judging by Guy McIntyre's reaction, it's against the Saints, and that is the call. Jerry Seaman is our referee today. 12 minutes 45 seconds remaining in the first half, and it's been a penalty-free ball game until now.
Bring it back and have him kick it again.
Nothing Bum Phillips would want more on his 62nd birthday than to win a 2nd straight game and go 2-2 and knock off the defending champs. Here's Jerry Seaman.
Illegal motion, number 57. Offense, still 4th down.
Ricky Jackson. And now Hansen is backed up to just about as far as he can go. Saints are blessed with 2 strong kickers in Morten Anderson and this man, Brian Hansen, out of Sioux Falls College. In the air. And he missed it. And that's where the 49ers will get it when we come back on the New Orleans 28.
See Michigan State play Iowa or Arizona State against UCLA next Saturday on CBS Sports.
This is Cajun country, where the tradition of...
And your local Ford dealer who invite you to drive the new Ford Aerostar. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by RCA, creators of video technology that excites the senses.
Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker at Candlestick Park. The 49ers have started 8 drives and has converted 7 of them in the opposition territory. This is their deepest penetration of the game. The Saint 28 following the 23-yard punt by Hansen. 1st and 10, San Francisco, no score. And Roger Craig off the left side. Takes 5 Saints to bring him down inside the 25. Whitney Paul and Frank Watlett combined to make the tackle. The ball is spotted at the 24-yard line. A gain of 4 for Roger Craig, who's off to a fabulous start in 1985. Gain of 5, 2nd down and 5. Jerry Rice in the game goes to the top of your screen. Dwight Clark at the bottom. Craig again. And he's hit immediately by Frank Warren, the 5th-year defensive lineman from Auburn.
who prevented Craig from really getting ahead of steam, and he is stopped at the 22-yard line.
And as we said, staying on the ground now after the start of this ball game.
No score. Just about 11.5 minutes remaining in the first half. This time Rice comes out to the left. Earl Cooper is another player, along with Fred Dean, the 49ers would like to see really get started in this game. Tight end receiver, and there's an end around to Cooper. Tight end around to Earl Cooper to the 10-yard line, and a first down inside the 10. Johnny Poe tripped him up, and the crowd is yelling Coop. A 14-yard pickup.
Cooper lined up at tight end on the right side of your screen. Fakes the handoff to Roger Craig. That's Cooper right there. Randy Cross, 51 on the pull. Warren can't catch him from behind. And good call and good run by the former fullback.
Earl Cooper, who led the NFC with 83 catches in his rookie year, and that was a record. But a first and goal now for the 49ers on the 8. No score. Tyler fighting his way to the 5-yard line, then bounces off a defender and goes in for the score. Frank Watlick missed the tackle as Tyler went off to the left side, and he bounced off like a billiard ball and then went untouched off the right side in for the touchdown. An unusual play, to say the least.
New Orleans players can't believe it. They thought they had him stopped. Well, that's just a good effort. Strong legs. He's not stopped. He bounces out. He must have bounced off 5 or 6 guys over there at the point of attack.
And it's 6-0 Ray Wershing, with Matt Cavanaugh holding, adds the conversion, and for Ray Wershing, that's his 120th consecutive conversion, the longest current streak in the NFL. Second touchdown of the year for Wendell Tyler, 49ers leading rusher, averaging coming into the game nearly 5 yards a carry. There's the drive. Helped by the 23-yard punt by Brian Hansen after Runeker kicked it out at the 2-yard line. Ray Wershing kicking. Eric Martin on the left, Tyrone Anthony on the right. And it's going to Martin at the 10. Martin stopped from behind at the 28-yard line by Milt McCall. Here's what's coming up next week on CBS on the NFL. The NFL Today play, they call it at the end.
White Shoes Johnson, we were there.
49ers Atlanta, one of the games next week. Minnesota against the LA Rams. First and 10 at the 29 for the Saints, trailing now 7-0. Earl Campbell. Jeff Stover grabbed on to Earl, who ran a couple of yards.
That's a counter play that a lot of people are running. Todd Shell, number 90 right here. Starting at strong side linebacker, takes on a guard, gets it turned up inside, and Jeff Stover comes and catches it from behind.
Todd Shell, by the way, last year had 2 interceptions, both against these Saints. And of course, he picked up his first last week of this year. Wayne Wilson has come in the game at the running back spot, replacing Earl Campbell. He's a threat to catch and to run. Eric Martin defended by Torrey Nixon, and a penalty marker is down. Question is, was it an early hit by the rookie from San Diego State? Seems to be the case.
Defense, first down.
Automatic first down.
Take a look at the end of it right here. Nixon is number 20. And it looks like he's in there early.
And the reaction from Torrey Nixon. Oops, got him that time. Dwight Hicks has come in the ball game now. Replacing Nixon, first and 10 at the 43. Wilson goes to Goodlow, and Eric Wright rides him out of bounds just shy of midfield to the 49-yard line, a gain of 6.
Wilson thought he was getting a blitz that time and called an audible at the line.
Eugene Goodlow, in his 3rd year, originally played in the Canadian League.
100 passes up there one year.
It's a lot of receptions.
Especially when it's cold.
Which it gets. 2nd down and 4 for the Saints. We have 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Dave Wilson, who has gone 8 quarters, or had gone 8 quarters before he threw the interception to Dwight Hicks. 2 tight ends in there now, and here's Wayne Wilson with his first carry. Michael Walter hits him, but he gets into 49er territory and close to a New Orleans first down.
Wilson's a little bit quicker than the other 2 backs, Hokie Gajan and Earl Campbell. For a couple years ago, in 1983, I think, he had 3 consecutive games where he went over 100 yards. Filling in for George Rogers was hurt at that point for the Saints.
Rogers would come out after the first down, and Wilson would be a threat, triple threat in many ways. He remains in the lineup. Earl Campbell joins him in the backfield. 3rd down and 1. Larry Hardy in motion. Wilson has the first down for the Saints. Big pile up, but the Saints appear to have the first down at the San Francisco 47. Ricky Ellison was there on the stop.
Imagine a guy looking forward to being in a game and tackling Earl Campbell. That's Ellison.
Of course, fortunately for Ricky, he waited until Campbell carried 2,000 times in his career.
Yes.
It wasn't the same Earl Campbell.
I don't think it would have made any difference. I think Ricky would have liked to have been there then too.
I think you're right. Jim Stuckey replaces Jeff Stover at left defensive end. 1st and 10 for the Saints on the 49er 47. Campbell in the backfield. He gets the ball up the middle, tripped up at the 41-yard line. Gain of 6. Dwayne Board on the stop.
He might have ran through Ricky Ellison that time. I think Ricky got an arm on him. Let's take a peek at it. Ellison is number 50, backing up the line right there. He comes over and reads, takes on a guard. Petey DeRoe gets rid of him, and yes, sir, that was Earl, Ricky.
All right, he says, now let's move on to other things. 2nd down and 4 at the 41. 49ers lead the Saints 7-0. 7:45 remaining in the first half. Wilson getting a rush from inside, dumps it off to Campbell, and it's intercepted by Michael Walter. What a gift for Michael Walter. Off the hands of Campbell.
Yeah, it was a blitz that time. You see Ellison 50 coming in. He's picked up late by Perot. Wilson does a good job getting it out here, but this is just one of those freak situations. The ball pops up. Michael Walter out there on the coverage is right on it. Walter, who came over to the 49ers last year as a free agent after being waived by Dallas. That might be his first career interception.
It is, and the 3rd turnover by the Saints. And the 49ers have it again. 1st and 10 on their 42. Roger Craig cuts outside. And he's out of bounds. And a first down for Roger Craig at the 46 of New Orleans. A gain of 12. Johnny Poe knocked him out of bounds, and that's about as hard a run as you'll see by any fullback.
Watch him come through the hole. Wendell Tyler calls him catfish because he says he swims through the hole. Look at it here. Look at this motion. Everything's moving. Arms, legs. It does look like he's swimming through there. Cover the ball up. Run tough. I tell you, he is taking his place among the good ones.
12 yards there. Came into the game averaging 6.4 yards a carry. 1st and 10 at the Saint 42. Tyler finds a hole and fights his way close to the 40-yard line. A good acceleration by Wendell Tyler. Dennis Winston makes the tackle.
Tyler prefers to run inside and take advantage of his quickness. Sometimes he hits, look at this plant and cut through here now. The linebackers, don't you see Glenn Red, number 58, hardly had a chance to come off the block before Tyler was by him with his quickness. That's why he's so successful running up inside.
2nd down and 5 now at the 41. So Tyler 54 yards already, and we have just under 7 minutes to play in the half. Montana stepping up. Freddie Solomon at the 30-yard line. And another first down.
The veteran working against Dave Waymer over there, number 44. Waymer looks like he has deep help, but Solomon sees the deep help and then just curls it up right there in between the two. It's a good read off the pattern by Freddie Solomon.
Solomon had been the big play man for the 49ers, but this year
He is averaging 9.3 yards per catch, the lowest of his career. Most of the patterns have been underneath to him. 1st and 10 at the 30. Earl Cooper is in motion. Montana up the middle. And he was going for the tight end Cooper. And he threw in the crowd, and it was Terry Hogue closest to the ball. Montana now has completed 3 of 11 for 33 yards.
There was a game a year or so, or 2 years, I think it was, where Montana missed his first 8 passes. And I talked to Randy Cross after that game, and I said, "You're in the huddle with Montana. Is he any different when he gets a start like that?" And Cross said, "Not a bit different. You can't tell by the look on his face, his eyes, or anything. He comes in with the same confidence on every snap."
2nd and 10 at the 30. John Frank is the second tight end. Inside handoff and a fumble. The Saints have it. Wendell Tyler fumbled, and Bruce Clark recovers. So the bad luck continues to plague Wendell Tyler, who fumbled twice against Minnesota, once last week and now here.
It's a quick draw play, and it looked like Glenn Red came in from the side and stripped it away.
It's become a familiar call. Touchdown, Roger Craig. The 49ers beat the Falcons next Sunday on CBS Sports.
He has scored the only touchdown in the game, but Wendell Tyler just coughed it up for the 4th time this year.
And that's even higher than his career average per carry.
Saints 1st and 10 on their 30-yard line. Hokie Gajan in the backfield. Fumble again. And the Saints recover. Don't forget, Hilgenberg is the center.
They were juking around up there in the middle like they were blitzing. Carlton Williamson, number 27, the safety, comes in. Ricky Ellison there. I don't think that it caused anything, but it might have had Wilson looking around a little bit, not exactly concentrating on getting the snap.
Most critical loss of those 3 linemen, according to Bum Phillips, was Steve Court, the center. They lost Brad Edelman and Kelvin Clark as well, but Court was critical. Second-year man Hilgenberg in there. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 30-yard line. Wilson getting an inside rush, completes it to Gajan, and Hokie carries it out to the 40-yard line after the catch, close to a 1st down. Michael Walter and Ricky Ellison both make the stop.
Watch Gajan. He's in the backfield. He'll check right there. No blitz coming, so he filters out. Wilson looking at him all the way, and wasn't it great, Dick, how the 49er players talked about Hokie Gajan the other day when we talked to him. They were likening him, his effort, to William Andrews, great running back of the Atlanta Falcons. They said that this guy right here is determined to get every inch he can get on every play.
That's a pretty good compliment for a guy who was a long shot to make a team. Shy by inches. It'll be 2nd down and inches. John Tice make it 3rd down. 3rd down now. John Tice, another tight end, comes in the game, and Eric Martin, the wide receiver, goes out. So a short yardage play for Bum Phillips Saints. Meat and potatoes, grinded out kind of style, although we've seen more of an open play from them than we have in a while. 3rd down and inches, and 3 tight ends for the Saints. Gajan is the running back. And it's Wilson who has the 1st down. Quarterback keeper for Dave Wilson. So with 4 minutes and 51 seconds to go in the 1st half, 7-0 San Francisco, the Saints have a 1st down. Rams jump ahead of Atlanta now. Miami over Denver in the 2nd quarter. And in baseball, New York won and Montreal lost, so the Mets now are 3 games behind the 1st place Cardinals. 3 games, that is, in the National League East. 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. Wilson to Gajan, and Hokie finds a hole up the middle, brings it out to the 48-yard line. The Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates are in the 10th inning of their game. It's not quite a final, so it's still 3.5 games. But if the Mets hold their lead, they'll cut the Cardinal advantage to 3. In the American League West, where it had been tied, the Angels victorious. Kansas City loses to Minnesota, so California leads the Royals by a game. 2nd and 3 now at the 48. 7-0. The 49ers lead. 3:40 to go in the first half. Wilson. Hokie Brenner claims he was held by Carlton Williamson, just couldn't get away from him, defending on the play.
Williamson said he was going to challenge Brenner in this game. He thought that, Brenner doesn't have the greatest speed of the tight ends, and he was playing him pretty tight that time.
The Yankees are leading Baltimore 3-0 in the second inning of the nightcap. Toronto leading Milwaukee big, so Toronto's magic number is now 3. Try to tell you who won that first game between the Orioles and the Yankees, and we understand the Yankees did. 3rd down and 3 now at the 48-yard line. 3:36 remaining in the first half. 7-0 San Francisco. 3 wide receivers. 2 on the right side. Wilson loses the ball, and the Niners recover. Todd Shell. That's the 4th turnover of the ball game by the Saints.
Doing a lot of blitzing off their nickel situation. 72 is Stover, but Jeff Fuller, number 49, the safety blitz, comes in. Ball is down. Todd Shell is on it, number 90.
And now we have a conference on the field. I did not see it. Was there a penalty marker down?
There is one.
There is one down at the 45.
We did that in unison.
Yeah, we ought to have a singing group.
Holding, number 42. Defense prior to the recovery. Going back.
Bum Phillips with a round of applause for that call, and that's going to save the Saints another turnover. And Bill Walsh, I think, is getting ready for one of his halftime talks, the kind he gave in the Atlanta game when the Falcons led the Niners 10-0 at halftime.
They asked him, what kind of talk did you give at halftime? He said, I just mentioned the score.
Ronnie Lott. Holding on the play. And that'll be an automatic first down. So you want to talk about a swing. You're going from possession for the 49ers in Saint territory to a New Orleans 1st and 10 on the 49er 47.
That was such a short drop by Wilson on that last play. What got him in trouble?
Goes longer this time. Incomplete to Wayne Wilson out of the backfield. 2nd down and 10. 3:25 remaining now in the first half. 7-0 San Francisco. That's what Wilson has done so far today. His interceptions were to Dwight Hicks and to Michael Waller.
Footwork is so important in quarterbacks and their drop. We saw him take that short drop, and then Fuller came in on the blitz. Now, sure, that's designed. The play might call for a 3-step drop. That last one was a 5-step drop by Wilson, but he really didn't get planted. He threw with his weight going back, and that's why that ball was short.
2nd and 10 on the San Francisco 47. Wilson up the middle of Hokie Brenner. And Brenner has a first down inside the 35-yard line. Walter and Ellison combine to make the stop. 13-yard pickup right where it's really hard on the skin portion of the infield.
And here's the way you do it. Look at this drop. 5 steps. He plants, sets up, and throws. Brenner delayed, came over the middle. The easiest throw a quarterback can make is that short pass over the middle.
Under 3 minutes to go, and Hokie Brenner, a real good target. This is the deepest penetration for the Saints in this first half. At the 34. The pitch. Wayne Wilson inside the 30-yard line. Manu Tuiasosopo making the stop. Each team still has 3 timeouts remaining as we have 2.5 minutes remaining in the half as the Saints are driving, trying to get the tying score here. Surprise there.
You know, I don't want to say it, but I will. It's just really a typical New Orleans San Francisco game that's just following the script of the way they've played each other over the last 4 or 5 years.
49ers have won 8 of their last 9. Wayne Wilson again almost has his jersey ripped off, and we're going to have our 2-minute warning coming up right now. 7-0 San Francisco. Surprisingly tough game for the 49ers. 3 touchdowns in 4 games in the first half. Unlike the 49ers of last year? Well, the Mets have beaten Pittsburgh 9-7. And coupled with the Cardinals' loss to Montreal, the lead is 3. And don't forget, the Mets have 3 big games in St. Louis this week. That's in the National League East. And in the NFC West, the Rams lead Atlanta 10-3 in the second quarter. 3rd down and 3 at the 28-yard line. The 10th play of the drive upcoming for the Saints. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Wayne Wilson on the receiving end goes out of bounds and has a first down inside the 20. Tackled by Ronnie Lotto, or at least he ran him out of bounds.
Wilson came in motion and got man-to-man coverage with Ricky Ellison. Faked in, ran a little cutout pattern of the sidelines, had 2 steps as he made his cut and maintained it, and that picked up the yardage.
So once again, we have to harken back to the big turnaround. Instead of a fumble recovery by the 49ers, there was a defensive penalty on the play, gave the Saints new life, and they've taken advantage of it to this point. 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 19. Wilson. He was going for Eugene Goodlow, and he made the catch. Eric Wright wrestled him down, and Goodlow made the catch on a fine play by the wide receiver.
A good play by both guys, really. I think Eric Wright might have had this ball at one time on an interception, and then Goodlow may have taken it away from him. See if we can pick it up and see it here. Wright's in there right now. They're both going down. And you really can't tell from that angle, but there's a struggle for it. Goodlow wins it.
A 9-yard gain. 2nd down and 1 at the 49er 10-yard line. 1:13 showing. They're not going to get the first down on that play, and now Eric Wright and Goodlow at the far side exchanged a couple of brief punches. Wayne Wilson was tackled by Tuiasosopo with 1 minute to go. They're letting that clock run down. Tuiasosopo, strong man in the middle for the 49ers. It'll be 3rd and 1. Clock continues to run. Where are the timeouts? The Saints have them. And now the Saints call their first timeout. We'll be back.
But there's still time to say.
Orleans is threatening to tie this game with 46 seconds remaining in the first half. And the Saints still have 2 timeouts remaining. You want to talk about a shocker? Take a look at the passing yardage so far in this game, Wayne.
Well, it's not typical Joe Montana or the 49ers, that's for sure. Look at that, 28 yards so far.
3rd down and 1. 3 tight ends for the Saints. Gajan in the backfield. Hardy starts in motion. And Gajan has the first down. Penalty marker is down. The right side of the 49er line moved. The question is, were they drawn off? Gajan had enough room for the first down. Jerry Seaman in conference. And it will be a first down for the Saints with 42 seconds to go, and New Orleans gets an extra stoppage of the clock. Bum Phillips trying to hang in there against the defending world champions, has done that plus. And Bill Walsh frustrated.
Offside, defensive, right end, first down.
1st and goal at the 4 for the Saints. 7-0 to score. Touchdown came in the second quarter when Wendell Tyler ran 8 yards for the only touchdown up until now. The Saints have survived 3 turnovers so far to be in a position to tie this game going into intermission.
They're battling. You see Dave Wilson waving Eric Martin on the field.
You need a
shorter man.
They're going to call a timeout. Bum Phillips shaking his head in dismay, and the Saints had to use an extra timeout there. Hicks, who's really the coach on the field for the Niners in the secondary.
They make a lot of calls. They have over 80 defensive schemes.
Drive on their own 31 with 6 minutes to go in the half. They've chewed up a lot of time. Question is, will they score? 1st and goal at the 4. Gajan will score. Dave LaFari with a key block. So the turnover that didn't happen because of a penalty backfires for the 49ers, and the Saints with great ball control. Gajan might have pulled a hamstring, has scored.
Watch number 64, Dave LaFari, make the pull. on Carlton Williamson, make the hit. Gajan tough running up inside. Nobody laid a hand on him, and he's in the end zone, and he may have pulled a hamstring.
Morten Anderson, who's 7 for 8 in conversions with Guido Merkens holding, and he ties the ball game with 39 seconds remaining. So the Saints wend their way down the field. The 49ers know they must win to keep pace with the Rams, who are leading Atlanta right now in a game going on down in
defending champion. It's whenever you play a team, that's their big game. That's the game to them that will prove whether they're a good team or not.
There's a scoring drive, a 5-yard touchdown by Hokie Gajan. Second touchdown rushing for the Saints and for Gajan. Anderson kicking off. Derek Harmon and Carl Monroe are back, and it's heading for Monroe about 3 yards in the end zone. And he's going to keep it in there for the touchback. Now, Wayne, the 49ers have all 3 of their timeouts remaining and 39 seconds to go, so they do have something to work with here.
That's plenty of time for them to get down. I'm not saying it's unless they break something long, it's time to get in the end zone, but it's time for them to work down and perhaps give Wershing a shot at a 3-pointer.
They have Jerry Rice, their big play rookie, in there, along with Freddie Solomon and Dwight Clark and Earl Cooper, and they're going to send all 3 of the 4 receivers out to the left side. 1st and 10 at the 20. Montana going to the right side to Jerry Rice. Incomplete. Defending was Dave Wayman.
Ball was overthrown for Jerry Rice. They're trying to get a zone rotation towards those 3 wide receivers on the right-hand side, which would leave Waymer single coverage with Rice. They got it, but the ball wasn't there for Montana.
In the last 4 years, the 2 games in which Montana has thrown the fewest passes have been against the Saints. He threw 17 last year in one game, 11 4 years ago. He's 3 for 12 right now. 2nd and 10, dropping way back, dumps it off to Roger Craig. And Craig is hit at the 27-yard line. 25 seconds to go, and the 49ers quickly call a timeout. Terry Hogue defending on the play, and a good hit on Craig.
It was a courageous hit, too, by Terry Hogue. They had 2 or 3 linemen out there in front of him, and he knifed in. Real reckless shot and made a fine tackle. Now watch the play action there to Craig, and Craig will be the one that'll end up getting the football. The lineman turned loose. Craig drifts out there with him. Pretty good protection. Crosses out there, and so's theirs, but Hogue comes in. Number 24.
Montana, who has thrown for only 41 yards in the first half so far, has his work cut out. It'll be 3rd and 2 with 25 seconds remaining in the half. Bill Walsh, perturbed to say the least, in a 7-7 ball game. Montana pumps, looks, Earl Cooper, and it's intercepted. Jack Del Rio, a rookie from USC, with a big interception. A shuffle pass off the hand of Earl Cooper, and Jack Del Rio, a 3rd-round draft pick, found it.
Looks good at first for Montana, but he can't find anyone open, and then starts to collapse going for Cooper. Del Rio got to be a big play for him because he grew up here in the Bay Area from an East Bay town of Castro. Went to Hayward High School. Of course, an All-American at USC, and his first year with the Saints.
16 seconds remain, and the Saints have a 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 30, and they still have 1 timeout remaining. So they may be looking for a possible 3 points and maybe more if they are fortunate here. 7-7 to score. Wilson finds Larry Hardy, the tight end, complete. And they're definitely within field goal range at the 22-yard line. Williamson makes the stop any time. This should be a 39-yard attempt for Anderson, who has made good on 5 of 7 field goals, including kicks of 50 and 55 yards. So he can kick them long. 8 seconds remain. And by the break of an interception by Jack Del Rio, Anderson will try to put the Saints in front at halftime. Guido Merkens will hold. 39-yard attempt. And the kick is good. And so the Saints, who are looking just to get back in this ball game, find themselves with the lead for the first time. The score is 10-7, and
The boos which emanated from sold-out Candlestick Park at halftime against Atlanta, we hear again.
Pretty good surface to kick off of that infield out there. It's really better to kick off the dirt than it is the grass, and you saw Guido Merkens with the signal.
The 49ers were the beneficiaries of 3 turnovers early in the ball game, 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. They managed only 7 points, a Tyler touchdown, and then things started to turn the Saints' way when Tyler fumbled. The 49ers were penalized after they had seemingly picked up the ball again on another recovery, and then an interception by Jack Del Rio following a Gajan touchdown has given the Saints, with this man Morten Anderson making good on a 39-yard field goal, a 10-7 Saint lead with 3 seconds left. The deep man, Derek Harmon on the left and Carl Monroe on the right for the 49ers. We may be hearing the displeasure of the crowd again when the 3 seconds elapsed. Picked up by Jerry Rice on a short kick. Time has run out. There's the tackle, and that'll do it for the half. And there are the boos. At the end of the half, New Orleans 10, San Francisco 7.
Signaling these plays into quarterback Randall Cunningham. And Leonard Marshall doesn't let him get the pass off. And Bill Parcells was hoping his defense could again turn the trick. As Phil Simms went to Mark Bavaro, the rookie tight end from Notre Dame, and Irv Bavaro just does get across the plane.
He does a good job here catching the ball at the 2 and being bounced around like a pinball on a machine, spins in for the touchdown.
Late in the game, the Giants are trying to hold on. The Eagles come storming. They just get to Simms' arm. He throws a pop fly to Herman Edwards. The 2 go into overtime, but then it was all Giants.
Second Eagles play in the overtime and run the ball once. Jaworski goes to the air. The ball's tipped. And Elvis Patterson, a USFL refugee, picks this one off and goes 30 yards for the touchdown, and the Giants win in overtime.
All right. Lyle Alzado, number 77, will recover it for the touchdown. Hayes also got in on an interception and touchdown passes. Buffalo was expecting the pass here. Instead, he hands off to Ted Brown. He ran down the left sideline, and that was the winner as far as the Vikings are concerned. Their record now is 3-1, and of course, they will be playing the Rams and score in that game. From the shotgun, Neil Omax. Here's one of your buddies.
Stump Mitchell does it all. Great blocker, great kick return man, great receiver. Made a game.
And watch Darren Cherry. He picked off 4 passes. That ties the NFL record for interceptions in one game. Irv, what's the most interceptions you ever got in a game? Over the winless Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here it is. Hipple to Nichols, touchdown Detroit in that sequence of points. And oh, how they love this return.
Boy, I tell you, there's an old adage in pro football, Brent, that says speed kills. Willie Gault, a world-class sprinter, world-class hurdler, runs 109.3. Takes this ball on the 1-yard line and romps 99 yards, the longest kickoff return in Soldier Field for a Bear.
Jeff Hayes injured, couldn't punt. Joe Theismann says, I volunteer. This is his last punt in the NFL. 2 yards, and it set up a Bear touchdown. They later came back. McMahon to Payton. Walter cuts back, almost slips, comes up firing, and guess who's open? The quarterback. Touchdown, Chicago. And Joe Theismann and Joe Gibbs just can't figure out what's gone wrong with this Redskin team. McMahon dropping straight back, and this time he's going to go to Payton. 33-yard touchdown. And the Bears put up 38 straight points. 3 times the Redskins had 4th and short. And on all 3 occasions, Chicago stuffed them right there. I have a question. They called this play dead in this game that we were about to see. Now, was he indeed in the grasp? I'm speaking about Dieter Brock, the Ram quarterback.
In my opinion, he was. We'll see the footage here in a second. Brock goes back for a pass. Here he's caught right there. Right, this play is over. You know, of course, now the ball's picked up by...
How come they protect the quarterbacks like that?
Well, you have to protect the quarterbacks. You're going to lose them all.
Falcons were robbed.
Okay, the ball's called back.
Here's the thing you like. That speed on the outside.
Darn right. Henny Ellard is a pretty good punt return man. Great open field runner. Boy, look at that footwork. There he goes, 64-yard touchdown.
And that's the difference in the game, too, right there. 10-3. And again, they're about ready to start the second half down and settled for a field goal to pull to within 3 points. Dan Fouts is out with a knee injury. Could be serious. He's going to undergo arthroscopic surgery. Will be 3-1, and they were blown out back on the something to Joe Montana's back problem. He's not had a good half, has he? 4 of 14, 31 yards. and 1 interception. But how about this run by Wendell Tyler?
Really a great play on Tyler's part. But on the other hand, the defense relaxed. Rule number 1 on defense meant you never stop until the whistle blows. Tyler breaks those tackles and goes in there for an 8-yard run.
And then Bum got the big touchdown here by Hokie Gajan.
Hokie Gajan, this is O'Connor play off his right guard. Very basic play in football. 5-yard touchdown run.
Not only is New Orleans outgained San Francisco, Wayne Walker, but look at time of possession. They're playing that ball control style, which works so well for them. And other than the 3 turnovers that they had early in the ball game, it's been almost a picture-perfect game for Bum Phillips.
Well, it has, and the time of possession was...
Oh, well, let's see if San Francisco comes out throwing. On his 62nd birthday, Bum Phillips Saints lead the 49ers 10-7, and Ray Wersching will be kicking off to start the second half. Eric Martin on the left and Tyrone Anthony on the right for the Saints. So for the second time this year in 4 games, the 49ers are trailing at halftime to a divisional foe. Wersching's kick heading over for Anthony at the goal line. Tripped up. Torrey Nixon at the 16-yard line. Make it Bill Ring. Should have known. Bill Ring. 16-yard line. The quarterback comparison. A surprise in the first half. Only 41 yards for Montana. Dave Wilson, as Wayne mentioned, protected well. There have been no touchdown passes thrown. Saints on their own 17-yard line. Wayne Wilson comes out as the lone back. In motion goes Eugene Goodlow. Wilson gets a good hole and crosses the 20-yard line. Dwayne Board making the tackle. Board had a terrific game last week against the Raiders. He had 4 sacks in the game, but it's been nothing like that in this game against Wilson and the Saints. That's what the turnovers have produced. Second down and 5 at the 22-yard line. All the scoring has come as following turnovers. Wilson hit by Dwight Hicks first at the line, slowed him up, and maybe a yard, that's all. 49ers, on the other hand, have not been able to capitalize on the Saints' 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble.
Credit that New Orleans defense.
Saints had the #1 pass defense in the NFL 2 years ago, dropped way down. 3rd down and 3 at the 23-yard line. Fred Dean and Gary Big Hands Johnson up front for the 49ers to put a rush on. Meanwhile, the pass knocked away by Todd Shell. Hobie Brenner was the intended receiver. And every game, Todd Shell looks like the real McCoy.
Looks better and better, doesn't he? Second-year player. He was a #1 draft choice a year ago, and he can make plays that they're usually made by a much smaller man. He's 6'4", 230 pounds almost now, and he covers the tight end like a blanket, reaches around, uses his height, and knocks it down.
Brian Hansen will be punting for the 4th time. Dana McLemore looking for the return. McLemore has averaged a little more than 10 yards per punt return. He got less than that, but has good field position at the 43-yard line. Frank Watlett makes the tackle along with Scott Pallure. 40-yard punt and a 6-yard return. So the 49ers will go on offense, and it'll be interesting to see, Wayne, whether the Niners continue to keep the ball on the ground or throw. And there's a penalty flag way down at the 25-yard line. Jerry Seaman says, let's bring it back. We may have an ineligible receiver downfield on the punt by Hansen.
Ineligible downfield. Number 54. Offense. Still 4th down.
That was Alvin Tolles, the rookie linebacker. So they're going to make Hansen kick it again. Bum Phillips knows what it's like to get far in the playoffs, as he did with Houston. There's Hansen back to kick. Dana McLemore moving up a few steps, looking for a better return than the 6 yards he got the last time.
end-over-end kick. McLemore is hit right there. And it was the man who was guilty on the penalty, Alvin Tolles, who made the hit on Dana McLemore. That was a 35-yard punt. And when it was all over, the 49ers still had the good field position.
Dick, I think part of the reason that the New Orleans defense is successful today against the 49ers is they get to see them twice a year. They're in that same division, and they're used to a lot of things that the 49ers do. 49ers don't change up what they do a lot. They change up their motions and formations and how they get to that point. But once they get to a point, they kind of do the same things.
Solomon and Clark wide right. First down. Solomon passing to Clark. When in doubt, go to the man you know who can do it. And that should be a first down for the 49ers. It is at the 42 of New Orleans.
Clark and Solomon both down here at the right side of your screen. Clark on the outside, runs an out pattern. And Waymer, number 44, playing extremely loose on it.
Jerry Rice, we hear, has a slight separation of the shoulder, maybe back. Jerry Rice, the rookie. First and 10, inside, Wendell Tyler. Could not break, one more tackle. Terry Hogue held on for dear life. But Tyler picks up 14 yards and a first down just inside the 30.
Great job in there by the offensive line. John Ayers pulls through, Randy Cross gets a block, and Tyler so quick getting into the secondary.
Another first down, of course. Wendell Tyler, who has scored the only touchdown for the 49ers. He's also fumbled once today. At the 29, Roger Craig with Pete Farnhorst blocking. And Craig picks up about 8 yards. Good blocking by Farnhorst, the right tackle.
And also an excellent block by Randy Cross, the right guard, on a pull on the linebacker Whitney Paul.
Terry Hogue and Johnny Poe make the tackle on hard charging Roger Craig. It'll be second down and 3. They give him 7 yards on the play.
New Orleans will slant their defensive line a lot on one side of the field or the other. If you can catch them going the wrong way, you can pop plays like that.
At the 22, pitch to Craig. And the 49er, the Saints defense, led by Whitney Paul, storms in on Craig. He can't get underway, and a penalty marker is down. Whitney Paul known for his pass defense. This will be holding against the 49ers.
Holding, number 56, offense, still second down.
Center Fred Quillen. Still second down. Second and 13. The ball back at the 32-yard line. The Saints lead the 49ers 10-7. They trailed 7-0. Gajan scored from 5 yards out, and Anderson kicked a 39-yard field goal. The final play of the first half. Montana in trouble and down. Whitney Paul with his second sack of the ball game takes over the Saints leadership in that department and brings Montana back down at the 40.
But it was great coverage downfield. Montana wanted to go deep to Fred Solomon, who was running a corner pattern on Waymer. See him looking over there, keeps looking over there to that right side. It's not there. He's got a bailout. Whitney Paul was there with him.
And Wayne, a good inside rush by Jim Wilkes, too. But Whitney Paul with his second sack of the game. And it's third down and 21 back at the 40, out of field goal range are the 49ers now. Montana looking for something deep. Throws short. Russ Francis. And Francis brings it inside the 25-yard line. A gain of 16. It'll be fourth down, and Ray Wershing is in field goal range as a result of that pass to Francis. Johnny Poe and Frank Warren made the tackle. So here comes Wershing, who is 2 for 4 in field goal attempts so far this year. His kicks have been successful from 22 and 26 yards. Had one blocked last week, and he's also missed a 46.
And he's kicking off the dirt, so the ball will be sitting up good for him.
This is a 42-yard attempt. Matt Cavanaugh holding. And the kick is good. Ray Wershing had missed 6 of his last 7 kicks beyond 40 till he made good here, and he was so pleased on that. Good to kick him long. A 42-yard field goal, and we have a tie ball game, 10-10. Candlestick Park with 10:21 remaining in the third quarter. Ray Wershing, who just kicked his longest field goal of the year, 42 yards to tie up the ball game, 10-10. Eric Martin is on the left, and Tyrone Anthony is on your right for the white-shirted Saints as Wershing kicks off. And it's going to be Anthony on the run at the 12, but nowhere to run as he dove forward, just trying to protect the ball. Tell me about that one, Wayne.
I was just looking at you with a quizzical expression. I'll guarantee you, I think what happened is he misjudged at number 1, and then when he had to make a dive for it, he may have knocked the wind out of himself and couldn't get up if he had to.
Well, next Sunday, it all begins with the NFL today. The 49ers travel to Philadelphia, plays in New Orleans, and Minnesota faces the Rams. 1st and 10 at the 13. Wayne Wilson, the running back. And Dave Wilson hits Eric Martin, the rookie, to the 25 and a first down. Slant pattern and the tackle by Ronnie Lott, good for 12.
Eric Martin was a pretty nice kid, we thought yesterday when we talked to him, huh?
Yeah, he's a very self-confident guy. He doesn't lack any of that, does he?
No, he was surprised that he wasn't taken as high as he was in the draft. He was in the 7th round. I asked him, I said, after all the catches that you caught, after all the passes you caught in college, were you surprised? He said, well, he said, I was upset because it upset me financially.
Sure did. 1st and 10 at the 25, and Goodlow is in motion. Wayne Wilson hit once. Dwayne Board made sure he wouldn't get by that first tackler. Manu Tuiasosopo made first contact, and Dwayne Board filled in a hurry. Now Fred Dean and Gary Johnson come in the ball game, and so the ongoing story of the 33-year-old veteran who does not have any sacks yet this year, and as Wayne mentioned earlier, has really been concerned about his play and lack of getting to the quarterback.
Had a long talk with Bill Walsh, and Bill wanted him to do some more conditioning, sprints after practice and things like that.
2nd and 9. Wilson gets it away to Wayne Wilson. Good second effort. Stopped finally at the 32-yard line, and Joel Hilgenberg almost went after a 49er. There is Hilgenberg, 2nd year out of Iowa, from the great Hilgenberg football family.
Well, I like to see that offensive lineman. Well, let's listen.
It'll be against the Saints.
He was just down there protecting his ball carrier.
Didn't look like Wayne Wilson needed much protection the way he was bouncing off defenders.
He decked Ronnie Lott, which you don't see too often.
Holding against New Orleans with 9:01 to go, third quarter.
Illegal use of hands. Number 64, offense, still 2nd down.
It's Dave Lafari. Still 2nd down. Second down and 18. Guido Merkins, number 19, as they flash in the signs. As Wayne mentioned, King Hill calls the signals from upstairs, sends it down. Time remaining in the third quarter. 2nd down and 18, back at the 17 for New Orleans. 10-10 to score. Flag down. Wilson, Wayne. And it's Mike Walter. But the flag might have been against San Francisco, Wayne, on the left side.
I'm sure it was. They had a safety blitz on that time, and someone jumped to the left.
That'll nullify an aggressive play by Michael Walter and a loss, or would have been a loss. Instead, it'll be 2nd down and 13. Michael Walter, along with Todd Shell, 2 new starters in the San Francisco defensive lineup this year.
Offside, number 72, defense, still 2nd down.
Jeff Stover. 2nd and 13 at the 22-yard line. Clock running, 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 49ers and the Saints struggle in a 10-10 ball game here. Dave Wilson. Going for Hokie Brenner, who makes a fine catch. He had to go high against several 49er defenders. Dwight Hicks and Ricky Ellison, and Hokie Brenner with an 18-yard gain.
I told you in the first quarter, he's like a rebounder in the NBA down there, Dick, the way he uses his body. Look at him shield Hicks away from the ball. He's a master at that. 76, Dwayne Board. Bottom of the screen, takes an inside rush. And Dex Wilson.
But Wilson hung in there against that rush. And now Hokie Brenner, with a big play, has caught 4 passes for 57 yards. 1st and 10 at the 40 for the Saints. 7:15 remaining in the third. Wayne Wilson piled up, gets a yard, maybe 2 on the play. Ricky Ellison and a few others. Hokie Gajan, who scored the first Saints touchdown to tie the ball game, has not been in the lineup.
Has a thigh injury, and he may get back. That's the word we got.
2nd and 7 at the 43, and down he goes. Todd Shell, Michael Walter, both in on it.
49ers blitzing a lot here this afternoon. 99 is Walter, 90 is Shell. Tuiasa Sopo with penetration, and Wilson really didn't even have time to look downfield to see what was open.
49ers went into the game tied with the New York Giants with 16 quarterback sacks to lead the NFL. And of course, that was their first of the day. Tells you what the 49er Saints offensive line has done. 3rd down and 18 at the 33 out of the shotgun. Wilson dumps it off to Wayne Wilson. Hilgenberg blocking, and Wilson is stopped at the 38-yard line, about 11 or 12 yards shy of a first down, and Carlton Williamson making the tackle. Wayne Wilson or Dave Wilson with a few complaints, maybe with some hard hitting by the 49ers. In any event, it'll be 4th down, and Dana McLemore will go back in single safety, and Brian Hansen will kick it away for the Saints. He'll be kicking from the 25 and gets off a good high spiral. Fair catch called for by McLemore at about the 19-yard line. A 43-yard punt by Hansen. Timeout. We'll be back to Candlestick.
Derek, he says his brother's a little bit different from him, but equally as good, he says.
Some of you will see Arizona State and UCLA, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific next Saturday. First down for Montana on the 19, intercepted by Hogue, who laterals to Winston. And the Saints have the ball in 49er territory on the 3rd San Francisco turnover, and Bill Walsh is plainly disgusted on the sideline.
Take a look now. Here's the 2 wide receivers, Clark and Solomon. Solomon's going to run a little bit deeper pattern. I'm really not sure who this ball was intended for. It was just so poorly thrown by Montana that it wasn't directed at either player. And Terry Hogue, the guy we said man on the spot, has that knack of being around the ball. Certainly was.
That is Hogue's 2nd interception of the season and the 6th interception for the Saints all year. And New Orleans has it 1st and 10 on the 49er, 26. 5:13 to go in the 3rd quarter. 10-10 is the score. Fumble. And Wayne Wilson will cover up in the backfield. That was a Wayne Wilson, Dave Wilson mix-up right there.
I talked to Dave Wilson yesterday and asked him what he thought his strengths were, and he said, well, I've got a good arm. I know the system now. He said, the main thing about me is the fact that I've never been able to play long enough in a stretch. He said all the way through college, I'd get some games in, I'd be hurt. Up here it's been the same way, so I've never been able to settle into a game playing routine. As you look at Hogue, who got the interception.
2nd down and 15 at the 31. Lindsey Scott, number 80, is in the game at wide receiver along with Jeff Groth. Here's Wayne Wilson getting by Dwight Hicks, and out of bounds at about the 25. Eric Wright defending on the play, and he carried it up to the
23-yard line. Good run by Wayne Wilson.
Wilson's a toughie. We told you he's really good at coming out of the backfield, catching the ball right here. That was a draw play. Breaks the tackle there by Hicks, and watch him lay a shot right here on Eric Wright.
3rd down and 6 at the San Francisco 22. And the Saints are definitely within field goal range. They have 3 wide receivers, 2 to the top of your screen. Groth goes in motion. Wilson. And Lindsey Scott is there. Incomplete. Flag is down, though, in the secondary. Incomplete to the former #1 draft pick Lindsey Scott, who has been a disappointment. Dana McLemore defending. And this will be against the Saints.
Lindsey Scott, Dana McLemore. McLemore playing bump and run. He's got 5 yards to do that. Now it's hands off everybody. And I haven't seen anything yet.
Here's Jerry Seaman.
Pass interference, number 80, offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
It'll be 4th down. They declined the penalty. But it's certainly within reason within the 5 yards, wasn't it?
Well, it's in reason for the defensive guy. The offensive guy isn't supposed to use his hands at all, and he did have them out.
4th down. And so Morten Anderson, who has kicked a 39-yard field goal, will try this from 39 yards to try to give the Saints the lead again. Guido Merkins holding. And this kick is good. So Anderson is 7 for 9 on the year. And with 4:15 to go in the 3rd quarter, New Orleans regains the lead. The Saints are doing more than hanging in. They lead the 49ers 13-10, and when the 49ers have made a mistake, the Saints have capitalized on a touchdown and 2 field goals as Morten Anderson gets set to kick off following his second 39-yard field goal of the game. Derek Harmon and Carl Monroe are back for San Francisco, and it's Harmon at the 4. And Harmon battles his way just about to the 20. Right now, for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, down the coast in Anaheim, the Los Angeles Rams dominating Atlanta right now. Dieter Brock to Bobby Duckworth for the touchdown. Eric Dickerson is out, minor hamstring injury. It's 17-6. Let's go back to San Francisco.
Eric Dickerson out with a slight hamstring pull in that ball game, but the Rams lead. They're undefeated just as the Bears are. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Dwight Clark for 8 yards. Joe Montana. Johnny Poe defending on the play. Let's check some final scores today. Dallas a winner over Houston. Giants over Philadelphia in overtime. The Raiders beat New England, coming back from their loss to the 49ers. Minnesota beat Buffalo. 2nd down and 2 at the 29. 3.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Wendell Tyler, 1st down to about the 33-yard line. Kansas City sends the Seattle Seahawks to their 2nd straight loss. And Detroit, coming back from defeat, wins their 3rd game, beating Tampa Bay. Chicago, undefeated, sends the Redskins to their 3rd loss in 4 games.
Jim McMahon threw for 3 touchdown passes in that one and then caught one from Walter Payton.
And the Cardinals go 3-1, beating the Pack. 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. Solomon in motion. Tyler off the right side for maybe a yard. Bruce Clark making the tackle. Tyler has gained 72 yards today on 15 carries, has scored the only San Francisco touchdown. But for Joe Montana, it's been a struggling kind of afternoon, Wayne.
It has, and you know that the people have a tendency around here to think, well, you know, he'll get it straightened out sooner or later. He'll win it for us at the end. That doesn't always happen, though.
2nd and 9, Montana facing a rush. Runs for the first time and gets a 1st down.
It's his dimension right there. He looks downfield. Wilkes is getting a good push up the middle, so he takes off, and he's more apt to run when he's coming out to the left side than he is going right. And he picks up plenty for the first down.
The old saying on Montana is that when the play starts to break down, it's just starting. Gain of 13 on the play, 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 47. Craig goes wide in motion. Montana up the middle, and it's caught. Russ Francis. Good catch by Francis. He had defenders all over him, including Terry Hogue and Dennis Winston.
Let's see if we can pick it up. There's Francis going over the middle, and he'll be in a battle with this ball with Dirt Winston, number 56, but Francis wins the juggling act.
Into Saint territory. Joe Montana leading the 49ers, who trailed the Saints 13-10 with 1 minute to go in the third quarter. They're at the 44. Montana can't get away, and he's sacked back in his own territory at the 48-yard line by Frank Warren. That's the third time the Saints have gotten to Joe Montana today.
And again, you can credit the defensive secondary of the Saints. There was just nothing there downfield. They play their zone defense as well as anybody. #1 in the NFC last year. And it broke down pretty quickly up front as Frank Warren gets to Montana. But he had nowhere to go with that.
Interestingly enough, Wayne, coming into this game, the Saints were next to last in the NFL in pass defense. I think they're going to move up.
They won't be there at the end of the year, I'll guarantee you that.
3rd down and 8. The 49ers in their own territory. The audible by Montana. And Montana flushed away from the pocket. Gets it out to Solomon. And Solomon is stopped. And the Saints defense holds once again. A penalty marker is down. And maybe a personal foul. Dave Weimer on the near sideline. This could be a critical foul, and it is against the Saints. It's going to give the 49ers a new life.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 53, defense, 1st down.
Scott Pelura, and that hurt.
Let's see, coming in late more than likely. He's number 53 to the right. Solomon's down, and Pelura comes in late and gives a little extra.
And an automatic 1st down. So once again, one of those swing situations. Instead of the Saint defense holding with a lead, this may be the last play. If we get it off in the quarter, they may not get it off. They won't. And that's the end of the third quarter. With the score, New Orleans 13, San Francisco 10. Stockton starting the fourth quarter here at Candlestick Park with the Saints and Bum Phillips leading Bill Walsh and the 49ers 13-10 in a game in which the Saints have capitalized on all 3 San Francisco turnovers and have scored.
And Dick, we're getting at the point of the ball game where the San Francisco 49ers cannot afford any mistakes, any turnovers, any mental errors out there, because if they do, they're going to hand this ball game to New Orleans, who might just take it anyway.
First and 10 at the 32. So the personal foul by Scott Pelura setting up this situation. And it's Roger Craig cutting inside, fighting his way to the 24-yard line. The Rams leading the Falcons in the fourth quarter. We saw Dieter Brock with a touchdown pass. Denver over Miami. Close game. Cleveland, look at that turnaround. Dan Fouts is out 3 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. Bad news, of course, for the Chargers.
Gary Danielson at Cleveland, I think, the league's most underrated quarterback.
The Jets lead Indianapolis. Todd Leahy, 4 field goals today for the Jets. 2nd and 3 at the 25. Montana hits Clark. First down inside the 15. Glenn Red and Dave Weimer make the tackle. A gain of 11 yards to the man Montana likes to go to the best.
Watch what he does here now. He'll just go down there against the zone, fake a block. He gets his release. Now look at him. He pivoted inside. He's not supposed to be there. He's moving some more. He couldn't get outside, so he pivoted in. He's the best in the league at that, finding a hole in his zone, and Montana just seems to have radar picking him up.
Clark and Montana perhaps are the best example of body language anytime, but when you have broken plays especially. They click there. 1st and 10 at the 14. Tyler to the 5, still going. Stopped short of the goal line by a yard. Waymer on the tackle.
Great blocking out in front of this one now. John Ayers, number 68, the off guard pulls. Bubba Paris is over. Roger Craig with the lead block, but look at Ayers through the hole in front of Tyler. And you got to be quick as a guard to do that.
You think they'll give it to Tyler to go in if he was stopped so close? He has already scored once.
Well, Craig is probably the better blocker.
Craig. Touchdown. That is the 7th touchdown of the season for Roger Craig.
A dive over off a counter step. Wendell Tyler leads it on in, and he does a pretty good job too, but Craig really didn't need much. Everybody's grabbing grass, and he was just over the top of everyone.
Roger Craig did not score his first touchdown rushing until midseason last year. He now has 4. Ray Wershing with Kavanaugh holding makes good on the conversion. And with the score, San Francisco 16, New Orleans 13, we have a penalty marker down. 49ers holding. So Wershing will have to move back.
Holding, number 53. Kicking team, re-kick, 10-yard penalty.
Milt McCall. So the score remains 16-13. And Wershing will try a 30-yard kick with Kavanaugh holding now. And the kick is good. With the score, 17-13, San Francisco. We now pause for a word from your local station. It started out as an overcast afternoon. The lights were on, and they still are, but the sun has shone most of the afternoon. The sky is blue, and the 49ers lead 17-13. Tyrone Anthony receiving the kickoff at the 5. Finally down at the 22-yard line, and the tackle is made by Jeff Fuller. Scoring drive, ate up 6 minutes and 13 seconds. One of the earlier games today, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Buffalo Bills 27-20, and Minnesota will go against the Los Angeles Rams in one of the games you'll see on CBS. 1st and 10 at the 22. 12:51 on the clock, 4th quarter. Dave Wilson going up on top for Martin. Defending was Ronnie Lott, incomplete.
Let's watch the rush and the way it's picked up by the New Orleans offensive line. A good job for Wilson. Tuiasosopo comes around late. Caused Wilson to lean away a little bit when he threw, but he had the ball down there in pretty good shape.
49er defense, the keynote to the victory over the Raiders last week. 2nd and 10. Tyrone Anthony along with Wayne Wilson in the backfield. Anthony is in the slot. Wilson overthrows Goodlow. Eric Wright covering on the play, and it's 3rd and 10. And Fred Dean trying to get in sync as a pass rusher, had his best charge on Dave Wilson today.
It looked like they had a stun on, and he came from the outside, and they're just as they release the ball. You know, Bill Walsh questioned his conditioning. You know, here's a guy 235 pounds playing against 280-pound guys. He doesn't lift weights. He had him out after practice. He told him probably the best thing you can do is run after practice, get your legs in real good shape. He says, and don't worry about things.
3rd and 10 now. Three wide receivers and a nickel back in there. And Hobie Brenner can't make a tough catch.
Once again, the 49ers, led by Jeff Fuller, putting the charge on Dave Wilson. And it's 4th down.
Now, some guys can throw the ball off the run extremely well, and some can't. It's not Wilson's forte. Watch him here rolling out right. All he has to do is get it out here up in the air, and Brenner's got a first down made easily, and you see that. Wilson is so upset with himself because he threw that ball short.
So it's 4th down, and Brian Hansen will kick. Dana McLemore is back at the 37-yard line on the skin portion of the infield. McLemore calls for the fair catch at the 39-yard line. 49ers take over after the 39-yard punt tonight on CBS. Here's the lineup. Come back and tie it up and have a 10-7 lead on a field goal just before the end of the half. Then New Orleans took a 13-10 lead in an exchange of field goals before Roger Craig's touchdown put the 49ers in front. Penalty marker down, and here's Craig cutting up the middle. And Craig picking up 8 yards on the play to the 47-yard line, where Frank Watlett and Terry Hogue make the tackle, but of course the penalty. It'll be against the 49ers. And Wayne, was that out of that new formation, that double east formation?
It was the one they call the double east. Look at over here, 2 tight ends. There comes Bill Ring in motion. They have blockers out. That makes going to be 3 over here at the point of attack.
Number 81, offense. 2 men were moving. They didn't set prior to the snap. Still first down.
You heard it.
You have to be set a second. Russ Francis, in that little nudge he gave, got back down and wasn't set a second. Ring was in motion, and that was what they called.
First down and 15, back of the 34. 17-13 San Francisco. Tyler, no gain. And now Ricky Jackson and John Frank, the tight end, waving at each other.
Well-matched pair, I'd say, right there. John Frank, the bulldog type, and Ricky Jackson, who can play on anybody's team.
Remember last year the scene of John Frank grappling with Lawrence Taylor of the Giants in the playoff game.
Hey, he made the All-Madden team for that play.
That's right. He'll deal with Ricky Jackson and Lawrence Taylor. He'll deal with the best. 2nd and 14. Montana trying to get away, and he can't. And Bruce Clark comes up with a sack. That's the 4th sack of the game for the Saints, and here's their Pro Bowler who did the job on that play.
Look at Montana. See, disheveled. That was really, you really can't blame the sack on the offensive line. Montana's back there. There's nothing downfield. Now he's got to break out of there. And Clark gets off Fawnhorse block. And I'll tell you, he stuffs Montana down on that infield.
3rd down, 17, and the defense of the Saints playing an outstanding game today. 3rd and 17. Montana dumps it off to Craig. And Craig can carry it only to the 43-yard line, where it'll be 4th down and 5. Ricky Jackson and the nickelback. Brett Maxey, the free agent from Texas Southern, make the stop. Gain of 12, but it'll be 4th down, and Max Runegard, former Eagle, will come in to punt for the 49ers. He'll send Eric Martin back. Martin has the ability to break it. Leading the NFL in kickoff returns coming into this week, over 30 yards a return. Sort of a line drive kick, and Martin will get a return on the 15. Try to block a couple, couldn't get it back. A couple of defenders. Ron Ferrari makes the tackle, and we'll have a timeout. In a much closer game than most people anticipated, with 10:16 to go in the 4th quarter, Bill Walsh's 49ers, who trailed at halftime 10-7 and have had to scratch and crawl against Bum Phillips' New Orleans Saints, lead at 17-13 in a game in which the Saints have capitalized on 3 49er turnovers and have scored each time. The offensive story tells it all. Saints only 47 yards in the second half. 1st and 10 at the 17. Wayne Wilson. Wayne Wilson. Wayne Wilson. to the 45 of San Francisco, where Ronnie Lott knocked him out of bounds and a gain of 38 yards.
And a key block by Petey Perreault, the left guard, one of the new signees this week. He got the shot right there on Todd Shell. Wilson cut in behind it. Ellison reached out and couldn't get him, and it's a foot race, and Ronnie Lott has the angle and drives him out of bounds.
That's the longest run from scrimmage for the Saints this year, 38 yards. And Wayne Wilson has all of a sudden give the Saints 1st and 10 at the San Francisco 45. In motion is Eric Martin. Here's Wayne Wilson on a draw play. Gets maybe 2 or 3. Dwayne Board making the tackle for the 49ers. The Saints have played a terrific game defensively, but I think the heroes for them today, Wayne Walker, has to be that offensive line. 3 new faces in the middle with 3 reliable men out, and they have protected Wayne Wilson and have opened up some good holes.
This team has shown great character. You could throw up your hands and, like Bum said, say luck's against us and those kinds of things, but they've hung in and played a great game here this afternoon.
They've protected Dave Wilson, the quarterback. They've opened up some holes for the running back Wayne. 2nd down and 8 at the 43. Dave Wilson hits his man Goodlow, and he's in for the touchdown.
What a throw, Dick. On a wire into Goodlow behind Ronnie Lott.
A 43-yard touchdown pass, beating Ronnie Lott. Eugene Goodlow with his first touchdown reception of the year, and the Saints have come back to take the lead again.
Watch Wilson. He doesn't look anywhere else. I think he thought he knew he was going to get single coverage over there with Lott on Goodlow. He did not look anywhere else and went there right away and put it right on the shelf. That was a great throw.
A line drive throw. And now Morten Anderson with Guido Merkins holding. Successful on the conversion, and it's silent here at Candlestick Park. 9 minutes and 22 seconds remain now, and the Saints on a 38-yard run by Wayne Wilson, setting up a 43-yard touchdown pass from Dave Wilson to Eugene Goodlow, and that's Dave Wilson's reaction. The first touchdown pass of the ball game, and it's 20-17 in favor of the Saints. And once again, Wayne, the 49ers against a divisional opponent playing at home at Candlestick Park, are proving to be quite an enigma.
No question. We thought that, and I know that they felt that they discovered themselves in the game last week against the Raiders. Wanted to guard against the letdown, probably figured there would be, but thought they had enough overall ability, and as we talked about, their standard of play to hold off New Orleans, but New Orleans has always played them tough. I know I've said that 3 or 4 times in the contest, but they always do.
I think people believe it if they didn't before. 9:22 showing, and so Bill Walsh's 49ers are going to have to scratch and fight to win this one. Eugene Goodlow, remember, he caught 100 passes to lead the Canadian League in 1981, and now Morten Anderson will be kicking off. Derek Harmon on the left, and this is Carl Monroe at the goal line returning. And Monroe is hit hard at the 15-yard line. Brett Maxey making the tackle. So you can see how contagious that big touchdown was to the New Orleans special teams on that kickoff.
Plenty of time left. 9 minutes and 11 seconds. A lot of things can happen in this ball game both ways.
And the crowd squarely behind the 49ers now, who start this series from their worst field position, the 16. Montana has to sidestep, get away. Clark is chasing it. And the pass is caught by, no, now they say incomplete. Wendell Tyler. They waited a long time before they gave that signal away. Incomplete to Wendell Tyler, and Montana had a run for his life.
The old saying is, it's not over till the fat lady sings. Here it's not over until the skinny kid breaks. That's what they call Montana. When he breaks out in those situations, everybody adjusts.
Jerry Rice has not been back this half. He had a slight shoulder separation and went out. Dwight Clark had a slight hyperextended knee, and he's back.
In motion, meanwhile, is Solomon. Second down and 10. Montana going for Solomon. Out of bounds. I tell you, the Saints secondary is doing a terrific job on the 49er receivers.
They have. They flooded a zone over here with both backs out to one side of the field. They had it covered perfectly. Montana had to come back over here to Solomon, who's a master at this, but the ball was just thrown a little bit too far out.
Frank Watlet was right there. Third down and 10. Freddie Solomon, second leading receiver coming into this game. 8:52 showing on the clock. 49ers have not been as successful on third downs today as they have been earlier. Montana, third and 10. Completes it. Earl Cooper out of the backfield at the tight end, actually makes the catch, but shy of a first down by about 3 yards.
That New Orleans defense can play that zone, can't they? It looks like Cooper catches the ball. It looks like he's got enough room to pick up the first down, and then they're right perfectly where they should be placing their zones. They converge and hold him short.
Ricky Jackson and Scott Pallure make the tackle, and now Max Runeker will do the kicking for the 7th time, and Eric Martin goes back for the Saints. The clock shows 8:20 remaining. And if you want to talk about ball control, you know the Saints are going to be looking for it here. Not a good kick by Runeker, and it goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line. The 49ers trail, and the Saints have the ball. The burden is on the 49ers defense right now, as the Saints leading 20-17 with 8:10 to go. And you know that Bum Phillips will try to eat up as much of that clock as possible even now. Hokie Gajan had that thigh injury, has not been back. Wayne Wilson is the setback. In motion is Eugene Goodlow. First and 10 at the 43 of New Orleans. Wilson up the middle, and he gets almost 5 yards on that play. Straight ahead. Jeff Stover making the tackle. Wilson has gained 75 yards today on 13 carries. He had come into the game with 22 yards on 9 carries, so he's having his best day of the year. Second and 5. Saints on their own 48-yard line. And the 49ers know it'll be ball control as well as anyone. Wayne Wilson again crosses midfield and gets into 49er territory. It'll be third and about 2.5. Ricky Ellison and once again Jeff Stover in on the play.
This is a real decision kind of down with about 2.5 yards ago. Dick, as you said, the 49ers got to decide where they want to send in their pass rush people, and New Orleans has to decide what they want to do, because they can go either way. They think it's going to be a throw because Fred Dean is back in there for the 49ers, so they're thinking pass anyway.
So is Gary Johnson. The two go hand in hand. So the nickel package in for San Francisco. Third and a long 2. Roth goes in motion. And the pitch to Wilson. Wilson's got room and a first down and more.
Looking pass and got run.
Dwight Hicks making the play, and a good block by Dave LaFari up front.
He popped out immediately. Toss to the left now. Johnson on an inside rush, and so is Fred Dean. They both caught in, and Todd Shell, number 90, was also caught inside as Wilson got around the corner.
6:44 remaining in the 4th quarter. First and 10 at the 40-yard line of San Francisco. Martin to the right, Goodlow to the left. And Wilson will throw on first down and overthrow it. Smart move. Penalty marker down, though, in the secondary. Kobe Brenner was the intended receiver. Keena Turner defending. And Brenner just wasn't open, and Dave Wilson had to throw it away. But a penalty against San Francisco. Going to be a big break. And so the furrowed brow of Bill Walsh. Things aren't getting easier for Mr. Walsh this afternoon.
Illegal contact, number 21, defense, first down.
Eric Wright, and an automatic first down for the Saints with 6:39 showing.
I'll tell you, Dick, even if they don't gain any yardage from here, they've got a leg on that team, Morten Anderson, who can get it home from where they are on the field right now.
He's kicked 2 this year, 1 from 50, 1 from 55 among his 7 for 9. The ball now at the San Francisco 35, 1st and 10. 3 tight ends in there. Wilson dives for a couple.
Almost lost it.
Looked like he didn't quite have it in his possession when he went over the line, but he held on to it, and it's 2nd down.
I think he did the smart thing and didn't try to break and search for a hole because he didn't have control of the ball. I think that's why he made the dive. Look at it, it's down right there. You see it. And so he said the main thing I better do is get control and not worry about picking up any yards. You don't normally dive on 1st down.
2nd down and 8. He actually got 2 yards on that play at the San Francisco 33. 4th quarter, 5:58 to go. The Saints lead. Wilson bobbled it again, but gets away and picks up another couple of yards. Carlton Williamson forces in from the secondary. So Wilson almost fumbled twice, but the key word is almost.
Carlton Williamson is number 27. You'll see him make this play. Ronnie Lott gets penetration, turns it inside right there. He misses the tackle. Wilson keeps going, and then Williamson seals it.
3rd down and 6, and a big down coming up now with 5:23 to go. 3 wide receivers, Goodlow, Groth, and Martin. At the 36. Dave Wilson throws, caught, 1st down. Jeff Groth. Fine possession receiver, and a big 1st down for the New Orleans Saints.
Now he had Ronnie Lott again kind of playing bump and run on him. He took him down about 12 yards and broke, and Wilson delivered right on time. Good pressure again up front. The 49ers with a stunt. Fuller is coming in on a blitz, but we said that patchwork offensive line by the Saints pick it up as they have almost all afternoon.
Let's say their names again. Dave LaFari, Jim Rourke, and Peter Perot at left guard. Joel Hilgenberg, Ralph Williams, and Stan Brock. They ought to take a bow, win or lose today. 1st and 10 at the 21. 3 tight ends in there. And it's Wayne Wilson protecting the ball to the 20-yard line. And the clock continues to run. 4:15 remaining now.
You see the surge on every snap now, and that team in white down there, that offensive line, is winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Michael Walter making the tackle. So it's the ball control, and the clock continues to run. The last time the Saints beat the 49ers was in 1982 in the strike-shortened year right here at Candlestick Park. Other than that, 8 out of the last 9 have belonged in San Francisco's column. 2nd and 7 at the 20. Again, Wayne Wilson. And Wilson gets to the 17-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 4. But that clock continues to run. Manu Tuiasosopo and Ricky Ellison make the stop. Each side still with 3 timeouts remaining. The Saints are rushing better today than they have coming into this game.
And who would have expected that?
Morten Anderson, for him, he's well within his range for 3.
The 49ers almost have to take a chance defensively here, Dick. They almost have to blitz a safety or 2 and try to make a big play.
3rd and 3 at the 17.
Here they come.
Dave Wilson going for it all, and it's intercepted by Eric Wright. But hold everything. There's a penalty flag down at the 3.
We had 30-second delay prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Do you believe that? A big interception, and Dave Wilson said, I'll take that anytime. The 30-second delay of game clock ran out before the play, which was intercepted by Eric Wright, and so the Saints will get another chance.
The 49ers took that chance and did blitz. They brought both their nickel linebackers, Ferrari and Shell.
And if you want to talk about letting the air out of the balloon for the 49ers, that kind of call will do it. Eric Wright with a great interception on the pass intended for Goodlow.
So it'll be 3rd down and 8 at the 22. And Morten Anderson still exercising that leg on the sideline.
Look for a draw or screen here if I were playing defense. After I saw the blitz the last time at quarterback, you might want to go with a play that's a little bit safer than dropping back there and taking a chance.
Dave Wilson apparently can't hear the signal. Jerry Seaman is over at the 49ers sideline, Wayne. There it is, 3:02. Those 3 seconds could be critical down the stretch. What an unusual turn of events here at Candlestick Park following the 49ers thumping of the Raiders last week and the Saints getting off to an 0-2 start. But the Saints have played the 49ers as well as they've ever played them and lead 20-17 with 3:02 remaining. Third down and 8, and the crowd is chanting defense. They got it on that last play, but there was a delay of the game penalty.
That was such a great interception by Eric Wright.
34 straight sellouts here at Candlestick Park.
Well, let's see if we see that screen or draw or something like that.
In motion is Grove. He caught the big 3rd down catch before. Wilson going for Wayne Wilson. Incomplete. And it was Dwight Hicks defending on the play. 4th down.
Would have been a great catch, but it was there. The ball was there. Wayne Wilson on Dwight Hicks. And Wilson, Dave Wilson I'm talking about, made another great throw here. Look at him picking up there for him. And he moves around. He slides around in the pocket and gets some extra time there. Gets away from the hands and the arms. And check this out. Look at that.
Would have been a great catch. So now Morten Anderson with a 38-yard attempt. Holding is Guido Merkins. Anderson has kicked 2 from 39. And the kick is no good. Morten Anderson upset with himself. Could have given the Saints a 6-point lead. And now with 2:53 remaining in the 4th quarter, the 49ers need a field goal to tie. A touchdown would win. Here it is again.
You could tell he didn't hit it good because he didn't have his thrust. I don't think anyone got a hand on it. He just pushed it a little bit. And the 49ers will breathe a little bit easier, but they have a long way to go.
The reaction from Morten Anderson, who had kicked 2 from 39.
Looked like he fell down there. You know what? It's the dirt. It was the dirt. He slipped on the dirt. That's why he really didn't get that thrust into the ball. His feet gave away on him a little bit. As you know, it's very hard down on that dirt. The ball will sit up. Coming in from the side, there's so much torque coming in from a soccer-style kicker that's what caused it.
It's like concrete. 1st and 10, 49ers on the 21-yard line. 2:52 to go, and Montana is decked by Ricky Jackson. The Lawrence Taylor of the South with a big defensive play of the game, and maybe the biggest. 5 sacks for the Saints today.
They knew they had to pay special attention to him. They put Randy Cross, the guard, out on him, number 51. And look at this. Jackson gets on the corner of him and right on top of Montana.
2nd down and 22 from the goal line. Montana was hit by Jim Wilkes as he threw that ball out, intended for Freddie Solomon.
I've always loved this defense. I've always loved New Orleans defense. You know, when you see them play, you're going to see people that run around and hit people and hustle and don't quit and don't give up. And what an indication this has been.
And there you see the effects on Joe Montana with 2:41 to go. It'll be 3rd down, and the 49ers have called a timeout. They have 2 remaining, but the pressure has been put on by the New Orleans defense.
Can happen.
Bartkowski goes up high in a crowd to the left side. And it's caught by White Shoes Johnson.
San Francisco meets Atlanta among the regional games next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Here's our situation. We're in the fourth quarter. The Saints lead the 49ers 20-17 with 2:41 to go. The 49ers just used one of their 3 timeouts. It'll be 3rd down and 22, and the Niners are back on the 8-yard line. They have 3 wide receivers, Mike Wilson to the right, Freddie Solomon and Dwight Clark to the left. And a big play, to say the least. Montana looking, and he's down at the 5-yard line. Jim Wilkes. And the Saints have gone sack happy today. That is the 6th time they've gotten to Joe Montana. And a big game for the Saints defense.
You know, the 49ers system is based on timing and progression. Montana sets up, and there's supposed to be a receiver in a certain area. He's not there because they're getting bumped around by the New Orleans defensive backs, or they're covered. And that causes those sacks.
4th down, and Max Runeker will punt. With 2:26 to go, and he gets it off to the side and takes a 49er roll just about close to midfield. I think it went out of bounds at the 47-yard line. And that is where the Saints will take over in San Francisco territory and leading 20-17. Quickly some scores. 4th quarter, Miami leading Denver 30-23. Cleveland over San Diego, a final score and a big win for the Browns. And the Jets leading Indianapolis Colts 25-20 in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 for the Saints on the San Francisco 47.
You're going to see it. You've got to know that New Orleans has got to be conservative at this point, and San Francisco has to take some chances.
Now play can be stopped after each down with 2 timeouts and a 2-minute whistle for the 49ers viewpoint. Larry Hardy in motion. Wilson. Maybe a yard, and that's all. And the 49ers call another timeout. Ricky Ellison makes the stop. And San Francisco has 1 more timeout remaining.
Well, they won't have to use it right away because the 2-minute signal will stop it the next time.
The Rams in the 4th quarter, going for their 4th in a row, coming off that big win at Seattle on Monday night, leading Atlanta 17-6. And next week, the 49ers will travel to Atlanta of San Francisco 45. Eric Martin in motion. And Wayne Wilson gets a yard. And now the whistle blows.
They did stop it again.
The 49ers did call their last timeout. Manu Tuiasosopo making the stop. So the 49ers have used up their last timeout, and of course there'll be another stoppage of play after this next play.
They felt a timeout was worth those 10 seconds.
So now the Niners have to know that they will not have the use of any timeouts when they go on offense.
I'm pretty surprised at that, really. I'm pretty surprised at that. As you think that having 1 timeout to be able to take into the last part of a ball game with you has got to be worth about 25 or 30 seconds.
And as you pointed out, it was unnecessary. They would have run just 10 more seconds off before the next whistle.
This guy's been at it longer than I have, though. So
to recap, it was a scoreless 1st quarter. Craig scored his 6th touchdown of the year. It was 17-13 in the 4th quarter. It looked as if the 49ers might be putting the Saints away. But Dave Wilson hit Eugene Goodlow on a brilliant 43-yard pass play with 9:22 to go to give the Saints a 20-17 lead. Morten Anderson missed a field goal, but it's been beating the Colts 25-20. Third down and 8 at the 45. And it's a bootleg. And Dave Wilson will have a 1st down. And a big play for the Saints. And they may have nailed that last nail into the 49er coffin on that 1st down by Dave Wilson.
You bet. And look at this. Safety blitz, too. It was Carlton Williamson with a containment to the right side here. He runs right by him, number 27. If he takes his outside containment, he's got Wilson for about an 8-yard loss.
And a
he didn't play the defense the way it was drawn up.
13-yard gain. The 2-minute warning for the exits here at Candlestick Park. The 2-minute warning is history, and the Saints on the bootleg play by Dave Wilson have a 1st and 10 at the 49er 27. San Francisco is all out of timeouts now. And all the Saints have to do is hold on to the ball. Wayne Wilson carrying, and this was the big 1st down on 3rd and 8.
Yes, and watch now from the left side of your screen, number 27, Carlton Williamson. He goes for the fake inside. Wilson's got the bootleg. You've got to take some chances when you're in that situation on defense. You do have to blitz. He was a safety. He was blitzing, but you still got to play the defense correctly, and he didn't.
Clock running, nearly a minute and a half remaining. And the 49ers, who were shocked by Minnesota in the season opener, came back and struggled in the first half, but came on strong in the second half against Atlanta and then blew out the Raiders, suffering a big loss in this game. Wilson carrying again. And there's nothing the 49ers could do as the clock continues to run. No timeouts remaining. Big story today. That man, Dave Wilson, 179 yards passing. Whoever thought that the Saints would outpass the 49ers to the tune of 179-81? That's been the story.
Well, Wilson coming back from that bad start of his now, and he's had 3 good games, and I'll tell you that I think that speaks well for the future of the franchise and his future and everything down there. Dave Wilson really looks like he can get it done.
He was rock bottom after that first game, and he's the NFC Offensive Player of the Week last week, and he threw that bullet pass to Eugene Goodlow to put the Saints ahead for good.
Delay of game, number 18.
Delay of game called by the Saints, and right now a chance to thank some people here. We'll thank more people after this play. 36 seconds to go, 3rd down and 10. Wilson just covering up the ball, getting a couple of yards and chewing up some time. Brooks Graham, Pierce O'Neill, Greg Callender, a fine job. And of course, as usual, to our spotter Marty Aronoff and our statistician Roger Riley. Thanks to everyone on the technical and production crew. The New Orleans Saints had lost 4 in a row to the 49ers, but this is maybe the happiest birthday that Bum Phillips has celebrated in many a year. A victory over the San Francisco 49ers, the final score 20-17. And the final score 20-17 for Wayne Walker. This is Dick Stockton saying so long from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Don't forget, the NFL Today wrap-up show with Brent Musburger will follow with all the scores of the day.
Karate recovers and runs it in for the score, and that put the Patriots out on top by 6 at the half, 20-14. But in the second half, the Raiders defense came through once again. Craig James on the run. He is stripped by Brad Van Pelt. Rod Martin picks it up, but he loses it, and it banks here on Lyle Alzado to fall on it in the end zone, and that put the Raiders out on top for good, 21-20. Tony Eason pass once again is picked off, this time by Sam Seal. He heads down the right sideline, 38 yards for the score. Not a very good day for Tony Eason as the Raiders defeat the Patriots by 15. This will be an even more devastating loss for the Skins as they were bludgeoned by the game. Willie Gault is going to receive Jeff Hayes' kickoff, and watch this world-class sprinter as he takes off down the right sideline. Jeff Hayes, the kicker, has a shot at him. He misses. This is Barry Wilborn with another shot. Gault gets by him. A 99-yard kickoff return for Willie Gault, and the Bears close in 10-7. Hayes hurt himself on that play, so Joe Theismann had a punt, and he shanks that one, a 3-yard effort off the side of his foot to out of bounds at the Skins 15. That led to this next score on the very next play. Jim McMahon back to pass, scrambles around a little bit. He hits Dennis McKinnon on the post pattern for the score, and the Bears take the lead for good, 14-10. Let's say late second quarter, 21-10 Bears. McMahon hands off to Payton. Payton ready to throw, looks and finds who? Jim McMahon in the end zone for the touchdown. Walter Payton has thrown 9 passes in his career. 8 of them have gone for touchdowns as the Bears.
16 points, but the New Orleans Saints make it 2 in a row, and happy birthday, Bum Phillips, as New Orleans defeats San Francisco. The final from Candlestick is 20-17. Dave Wilson, the touchdown pass to Eugene Goodlow, and of course Morten Anderson, the left footer, kicking the field goals in that game, the deciding factor. So next week it's going to be the 49ers and the Bears are a lot of fun to watch, and 49ers obviously with a few problems right now. No problems at all for the St. Louis Cardinals. They erupted for 24 here. Earl Farrell gets outside and away from safety Tom Flynn, takes it in, 12-yard touchdown, 7-0 Cardinals. With number 12 Dickey on the sidelines, the Packers had all sorts of problems. From the shotgun, the ball is snapped over the head of quarterback Randy Wright. Get it out of the end zone. It's a safety anyway, nothing Cardinals. Third quarter, Cards blew it wide open. Score 19-0. Neil Lomax to stump Mitchell across the middle. And the stumper turns upfield 39 yards, 26-0 Cards, 33-7 at the end of 3. Dickey finally replaced Wright. I don't know whether Wright asked to be taken out or not. Dickey finds James Lofton in the end zone, the first of 3 touchdown passes, 33-14 Cardinals. But the Cards answer one more time. Off the pump fake, Lomax hits a wide-open Roy Green. 37 yards in the TD, 3 on the day for Lomax, 43-21 Cards at that time, and they win it 43-28 the final as St. Louis just cruising along now. They are 3-1.
And when Roger and I return, and the Eagles, stay with us.
This ESPN Sports Center is being brought to you by Ford.
At 3 apiece, Phil Simms drops straight back to pass. He hits rookie tight end Mark Bavaro, who dances his way into the end zone. 26-yard play, 10-3 Giants. Bavaro's first career touchdown. Eagles get a break in the fourth quarter. Simms back to pass in his own end zone. The ball is tipped, then intercepted by Herman Edwards. He takes it in for the score. His first touchdowns in 78. We're tied up at 10 apiece. Last play of regulation, Paul McFadden, who scored most of the Eagles' points this season, could not get these 3. He misses from 42 yards out, and this game goes to overtime. Eagles' first possession of OT. Ron Jaworski in for Randall Cunningham at quarterback. His pass is tipped, picked off by Elvis Patterson, and no one is going to get him. He goes all the way for the score, and the Giants pull this one out.
7-yard touchdown, and that's the way it would stand at halftime. Dallas with a 7-0, 57 yards for the score. A field goal tied it up at 10 apiece. But in the fourth quarter, watch Danny White. Drops back, floats one to the wide-open Fred Cornwell for the Gamers, and the Cowboys will go on to win it. Final score 17-10 against the Houston Oilers. Meanwhile, Gail, the very interesting contest that you want to talk about between Atlanta and L.A.
Okay, we'll talk about that one. Atlanta Falcons looking to win their first game of the season. The Rams looking to remain unbeaten like the Chicago Bears, the only 2 unbeaten teams in the National Football League, and that is still the case as the Rams were winners over the Atlanta Falcons in L.A. The score was 17-6. Second quarter, Falcons led 3-0, but the Rams strike. Dieter Brock hits Henry Ellard. Watch the nice move by Ellard on the sideline. He then streaks upfield, 64 yards for the score, and the Rams take the lead 7-3. This ends up being a very low-scoring game. Los Angeles driving, leading 10-6 now in the third quarter from the Falcons 13. Brock hits Bobby Duckworth. Nice catch in the end zone with Bobby Butler all over him. And the Rams hold on to beat the Atlanta Falcons. The final 17.
Wayne Wilson, as it was the 62nd birthday for Bum Phillips, the coach of the New Orleans Saints, and he got himself a birthday present. That set up this play. Dave Wilson back, firing a 43-yard shot going to Eugene Goodlow. So New Orleans upsetting the 49ers. 49ers only getting 81 passing yards. I think they're going to do what Namath said. Probably put it in the end zone or throw it away. That's having a lot of confidence in your play. That's what he did. Stops the clock for 6 seconds. You'll now see Gary Anderson, and that's got to do a lot for Mark Malone, knowing that Chuck Noll has that kind of confidence in him.
It does. And, you know, Chuck has been high on Mark this whole season and last season, too. It takes a quarterback a little time to develop, get rhythm going. This NFL is not an easy place to play football, and Mark is really only in his second year of playing steadily, so he's improving as he goes along.
Gary Anderson, who missed from 27 yards in the first quarter. This will be a 29-yard attempt. Bengals doing what they were unable to do last week against San Diego. That is keep the opposition out of the end zone. They hold Pittsburgh to 3, and they maintain the lead. With 2 seconds remaining now in the first half. 3-0 lead in the first quarter, and then the roof fell in. Tony Eason dropping back. He's going to look for Irving Fryer. Instead, he finds Lester Hayes.
And Lester Hayes is not a man you want to continue to pick on. They've hurt him the last couple of weeks, but they won't continue to do it.
Tough day for Tony Eason. 3 interceptions on the day. He's had 8 for the year already. That's all he had in an entire season a year ago. This time he hands off to Craig James. Now watch, he'll be hit by Brad Van Pelt. The ball is stripped. Rod Martin will get a shot at it, number 53. Reggie McKenzie, number 54. But finally, Lyle Alzado, at the end of this play, big number 77, will get his first NFL touchdown of his long and spectacular career. You wonder, Joe,
when everything is going bad for the quarterback, shouldn't they think about getting him out of there and letting him look at it for a while?
I think the coaches should think about it. A quarterback should be a great competitor, never want to come out of the game. But a good coach should recognize the need to take his quarterback out and put in a relief pitcher just as they do in baseball.
The Raiders defense got 21 points in the 35-20 victory. Kansas City, and it was a nightmare for Dave Craig. As they came into Kansas City, 4 interceptions for Dave Craig. Deron Cherry got 4 interceptions. That tied an NFL record for individual interceptions for a game, but they just had no respect whatsoever for Craig.
Well, they say turnabout is fair play. You know, last year Seattle's defense intercepted 6 passes against Kansas City and returned 4 for touchdowns. So Kansas City figured they had a little payback coming.
Even Gail Gilbert, who came in for Craig, was able to find Cherry. An NFL record tied yesterday, Kansas City's 5 interceptions. The Astrodome in Houston, Texas, another quarterback's nightmare. And this time it was against a fired-up Dallas defense. Warren Moon, he put up 4 interceptions. The Cowboys had 12 sacks on the day. And I wonder what he felt like today.
Well, the best pass defense there is a good rush. I know Warren probably had a tough time getting out of bed today. Here we see Klingstad with a safety blitz. This Cowboy defense is to be reckoned with. They're much better than last season.
12 sacks, a loss of 82 yards. The Giants getting it on with Philadelphia in Philadelphia. They don't like to go down there and play the Eagles. This one is in overtime. Jaworski has come in for Randall Cunningham, the rookie quarterback that injured his ankle. The ball is deflected by Mike Quick and right into the hands of Elvis Patterson. He gets his convoy into the end zone, and the Giants win over the Eagles the way they have so often lost, 16-10.
It's billed as a matchup between the record-setting quarterback Marino against Elway, who was trying to show the world that he belonged in Marino's class.
Don Shula donned his sunglasses to remind him of the balmy weather he left behind in Miami, because he faced 8 inches of snow and 29-degree temperatures, not to mention the Broncos last Sunday in Denver. It was so cold that defensive end Kim Bokamper, number 58, gladly provided his body as a blanket for John Elway. Even when Bronco receivers found some breaks of sunshine, they were stung by killer bees blown west for the weekend. Gene Lang, number 33, still found 10 yards of daylight for the game's first score. But this contest was billed as a classic aerial duel between a quarterback who has returned and one who has arrived. And Denver's skies were filled with more footballs than snowflakes. Dan Marino threw for 390 yards, including 69 on this scoring play to Nat Moore. While Marino's form looked flawless, it was also a little unfamiliar, as he found himself flat on his back, as the Dolphins finally yielded their first 3 sacks of the season. Undaunted and upright, Marino searched out what remained of his injured receiving corps for touchdown strikes to Joe Rose and a 46-yarder to Vince Heflin, number 88, the first score of his 4-year career. The Dolphins prevailed 30-26 for their first ever win in Denver. And even looking at it from a mile high, John Elway still has some climbing to do before reaching Dan Marino's level. Last season, Seattle's Dave Craig made a surprising ascent to that upper echelon of NFL signal callers. Against Kansas City, it appeared he would keep climbing that ladder. Little did he know that by game's end, he would be walking the plank. The Seahawks actually gained twice as many yards as the Chiefs, but it is quality, not quantity, that counts. And when Kansas City got a hand on Darrell Turner's 35-yard score, it was an omen of what lurked ahead for Seattle. The Seahawks did not commit a turnover in their first 2 games, but lost the ball 7 times as the ball-hawking Chiefs had more steals than Vince Coleman. Kansas City intercepted 5 passes, 4 by free safety Deron Cherry, number 20, tying an NFL record. Although quarterback Bill Kenny had a hurdle or two to overcome, he still proved to be the beneficiary of the Chiefs' windfall of turnovers. And his passing to Stephon Page, number 83, paid spectacular dividends. The Chiefs' stunning 28-7 victory marked their first 3-1 start in 4 years. The Seahawks, struggling at 2-2, debuted this season to rave reviews, but looked like they could be the first cancellation of this new fall season. Likewise, the rival Raiders filed into Foxborough needing a win to snap a 2-game losing streak or face a possible exit from contention in the AFC West. Los Angeles emulated the Chiefs in their methods of stealing a football game. Lester Hayes' 27-yard interception return came on Tony Eason's second pass of the game. But the quarterback bounced right back, connecting with Irving Fryer, number 80, on a 40-yard scoring play. But Mark Wilson would not be outdone in this East Coast version of dueling quarterbacks. Wilson, subbing for the injured Jim Plunkett, was himself operating on a bum ankle and completed only 9 passes, but made this one count, 38 yards to Dokie Williams. The Raiders took a short-lived lead, for in this roller coaster game, more peaks, valleys, and follies remain. Number 56, Andre Tippett's fumble return gave the Patriots a 20-14 halftime advantage. The Raiders had lost their quarterback, lost the lead, but never lost their cool. The Raider defense heated up and answered the distress call. With a savage fury, Los Angeles posted a shutout in the second half and inflicted more damage on New England than Hurricane Gloria. Indeed, once number 91, Brad Van Pelt, stormed in and stripped the ball, it was just a matter of which Raider would come to the rescue first. It took 15 years, not to get to the ball, but for Lyle Alzado to score his first touchdown. And he reacted as would befit someone whose journeys to the end zone are few and far between. While Alzado awaited his cue to move, the rest of the Raider defense ended the day as they began it, in a positively offensive move. Number 43, Sam Seal, is a wide receiver converted to cornerback, and he proved he can still catch the ball as his interception brought the curtain down on New England 35-20. The Raiders' first ever victory in Foxborough was a well-choreographed effort which kept the team in step with the rest of the AFC West despite their shaky start. Indeed, even in this turbulent Raiders season, Tom Flores remains calm like the eye of the storm. Even Hurricane Gloria would not ruffle this man whose confidence is bound tighter than his hairstyle. Cleveland Brown head coach Marty Schottenheimer takes a basic eyeball-to-eyeball approach to football. Unfortunately for Schottenheimer and the Brown defense, Charger quarterback Dan Fouts' complex approach to the game often goes way over an opponent's head. Last Sunday, Fouts' first quarter touchdown pass to Jesse Bendros put San Diego on top 7-0. However, when Fouts left the game with a knee injury, the plug was pulled from the Chargers' computerized passing attack, allowing Cleveland the opportunity to reprogram the scoreboard. Running back Kevin Mack, number 34, provided the software necessary to print out Cleveland's 21-7 win, as he rushed for 130 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. While the Browns' 2-2 record situated them comfortably in a first-place tie with Pittsburgh in the AFC Central Division, the 0-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers were trying desperately to fit in with the contenders of the NFC Central. Against Detroit, the Bucs found it especially difficult to wear the look of a winner when the Lion defense kept stripping them clean. The defense revealed Tampa Bay's penchant for turning over the football, while Eric Hipple in the offense unveiled a passing attack that had been somewhat under wraps the first 3 weeks. Hipple threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns in Detroit's 30-9 win. While the 3-1 Lions have their eye on dethroning the division champion Bears, last Sunday in St. Louis, the Zebras had their eye on the birdie as they watched the Cardinal defense swoop down on the Packer attack. Birds went after the football like a raven gathering shiny objects as Green Bay had its hands full keeping the Cardinals from invading its nest. The Packers were held scoreless for nearly 3 quarters, falling behind 26-0. However, following number 30, Stump Mitchell's touchdown reception, the Cardinal defense decided to head south a little early, allowing Green Bay the opportunity to get back into the game. The Packers tightened the score to 36-21, but quarterback Neil Lomax quickly regained control, throwing a touchdown pass to Roy Green. Lomax to Green is music to the Cardinals' ear, and the talented duo helped St. Louis whistle its way to a 43-28 win. In Philadelphia, there was also sweet music in the air. Unfortunately for the Eagles, while quarterback Randall Cunningham had a tough time keeping in step, the Giants' Phil Simms didn't miss a beat. Simms' touchdown pass to Mark Bavaro put New York ahead 10-3 until late in the fourth quarter, when a tipped pass brought back nightmarish memories of the miracle of the Meadowlands. Herm Edwards' touchdown tied the score at 10-10. And when a missed Eagle field goal sent the game into overtime, the Giants seized the opportunity to finally get even for the victory they fumbled away 7 years earlier. While number 34, Elvis Patterson's game-winning touchdown probably won't be coined vindication in the vet, it did give the Giants an important 16-10 win, keeping them eyeball to eyeball with the Cardinals and Cowboys on top of the NFC Eastern Division.
On November 19th, 1978, the New York Giants played host at the Jersey Meadowlands to their bitter arch rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams were still in playoff contention, but the Giants got the jump on Philadelphia when New York quarterback Joe Pisarcik capitalized on an error by Eagle cornerback Herman Edwards.
Well, it was a mixed communications, and the receiver ran free in the end zone. It looked like no one was guarding him, and he caught a touchdown. So basically, I was going in Monday thinking, well, I'll get the good tongue lash, and I better put some Vaseline on my back to get ready for this, because it's going to, the game is going to be blamed basically on me for blowing the assignment.
The Goats' horns were firmly affixed to Edwards. And when Eagle quarterback Ron Jaworski threw an interception late in the final period, the Giants' 17-12 lead seemed quite secure.
I felt we had just lost the first time to the New York Giants, because we had at that time like 10 or 11 straight wins against the Giants, and it was the strongest part of the Philadelphia Eagle program at that time. I mean, total domination of another football team and a rivalry football team, a team that nobody liked there in New York. And I felt we had totally controlled it, and all of a sudden they had played well enough to beat us. They had gained on us, and we had slipped.
We had the ball, as I recall, and I was late in the game. We had started off by running a couple of quarterbacks, just quarterback to run with the ball, fall on it, to hold it, just to run the clock down. The Eagles were very aggressive after Joe, and so we called it would be a 65, which is just a fullback buck into the line.
Joe was at the bottom of the pile, and a couple of guys fell on him, and I think the coach at that time felt that they didn't want to get their quarterback hurt, so rather than to flop on it again, they wanted to hand off the football. So what ended up happening is I think some of the guys on the offensive line were in the huddle telling Joe flop on the thing, and other guys were saying run the play, and so there might have been a mixed communication, and they really didn't know what they wanted to do.
The stage was now set for the miracle of the Meadowlands.
Under 30 seconds left in the game. From here on in, Pizarczyk can just fall on the football, and there is nothing the Eagles can do. And Pizarczyk fumbles the football. It's picked up by Herman Edwards. 15, 10, 5, touchdown Eagles. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do not believe what has occurred here, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about miracles, folks. I do not believe this one, but it has happened as the Eagles beat the Giants 19-17 before a shocked crowd at the Meadowlands.
The first thing I felt was exhilaration. The second thing I felt really bad for that coaching staff. I felt bad for those people. I felt bad for those players, because it should have never happened.
That fifth was probably clipped and put into a tremendous number of coaches' teaching reels when they put in the play at the end of the game where they tighten up the tight ends, bring in the backs, put the fullback back there, and have the quarterback flop on the ball. We probably did a great deal to enhance the value of that play.
And it still didn't dawn on me what had happened until I went home the next day. I turn on ABC, Good Morning America, and they're showing this play. And then the next thing I hear is they're firing coaches. And I'm going, man, you know, this really happened. And I think the good memories you dwell on when you retire and when you sit back. But it'll always be fun. I know that maybe 40 years from now, they'll still be showing that play. And I can say, yeah, if they don't remember anything else, they'll remember that about Herm Edwards, that in fact that he picked up the ball in New York and was able to help the team win.
When you think of miracle finishes like Bobby Thompson's home run.
After a scoreless opening period of Monday Night Football, number 16 Mark Malone got the Steelers on the scoreboard first with a familiar pattern to number 83 Louis Lips, who had 5 catches for 100 yards in the game. Number 7 sophomore quarterback Boomer Esiason was starting his second consecutive game, and he passed for 3 touchdowns. 2 of them to number 82 tight end Rodney Holman. This one put the Bengals ahead by a touchdown at the half. Mark Malone passed for a career-high 374 yards, with John Stallworth, number 82, catching a career-high 11 passes for 151 yards. But the Steeler offense, which had been running so smoothly, uncharacteristically blew a gadget play in the fourth quarter, and a 3-point Steeler lead suddenly disappeared. Following the fumble by Louis Lips, the Bengals scored 16 consecutive points, with James Brooks, number 21, culminating a 133-yard rushing effort with a 32-yard touchdown run. After losing 3 consecutive shootouts, the Bengals had victory number 1. And to them, it must feel very good to win one so early in the season.
Like I said earlier,
week between 2 of the surprise teams of the young season, the Rams and Vikings. It's a game that dramatizes an important element in handicapping, often overlooked: coaching and management. Are they both really trying to win? A few years ago, Rams management was mainly concerned with pocketing more of the profits for itself, and several key players were lost in salary disputes. No payoffs, no playoffs. John Robinson was then hired to save management from itself, and he has. His very first move was to trade up to draft Eric Dickerson. This year, he got management to put up big bucks for a Canadian import quarterback, Dieter Brock. And last week, the Rams picked up an expensive pass rushing specialist, Eagles holdout Dennis Harrison. Result, the Rams are heading for the playoffs, maybe beyond. The Vikings, just trying to get respectable, brought back Bud Grant. But management has done more than that. It has signed and is paying for 3 #1 picks, this year's, last year's, after losing them to the USFL, and another USFL refugee, wide receiver Anthony Carter. Result, the Vikings are respectable so far, maybe better than that. So, who's going to win the game? On the Caesars Palace board, the Rams, who are unbeaten on the field and against the spread, are favored at home by 6 points. With and without Eric Dickerson, they've beaten good teams, largely because of their defense. The Vikings have to win with offense. I don't think they can do it against the Rams' defense. The Browns, who are 2-2 against rugged competition, are 3 points over the Patriots at home, whose 2 losses have been to tough defensive teams, which is exactly what the Browns are. They should cover. The Saints are 3 over the Eagles in New Orleans. If they can put the upset of the 49ers behind them, they should beat the Eagles, who have scored only 1 touchdown on offense this season. A vote against the Eagles. The spread of the Bengals over the Jets in Cincinnati, just 1 point, reflects their bad defense. But their offense against a crippled Jet secondary should win a shootout. Len, 3 teams haven't covered a spread yet in 4 games. The Redskins, Bucks, and Falcons. And they're all home team underdogs this week. I'm curious, but not tempted.
Thank you, Larry. Oh, you know, the Rams, I think, are just too strong for Minnesota. Although Minnesota is playing much better under Bud Grant, I have to go with the Rams.
Well, the Rams, I think, as long as they don't do anything foolish, if they stick to ball control type of football, Dieter Brock under control as a passer, now that they have Eric Dickerson back, I'm going to take the Rams also.
San Francisco at Atlanta. Boy, that's an up-and-down team for the world champs, huh? But I got to go with them.
Oh, I thought that maybe you'd go and give Dan Henning a vote of confidence. No. I'm also going to take the San Francisco 49ers. St. Louis travels to Washington. Again, there has to be some pride with the Washington Redskins. Riggins, I mean, has to sum it up somehow. And Joe Theismann can't be that bad a quarterback. And St. Louis is playing great football. I'm going to take the Redskins at home. I think they're going to pull an upset.
I think St. Louis is a
Trailing 17-13, New Orleans wrote the biggest headline of the 1985 season. Number 42, Ronnie Lott, caught up with Wayne Wilson, but he could not catch Eugene Goodlow, number 88. Goodlow's touchdown produced a stunning 20-17 victory. And for once in the seaport city of New Orleans, the Monday sports section would become much more than something to wrap fish in. Sandberg described the city of Chicago as the hog butcher of America. And when Riggo and his hogs came to the Windy City, the Bears led them directly to slaughter. The unkindest cut of all was a slashing kickoff return by Willie Gault, number 83. Gault's 99-yard touchdown spurred a string of 45 unanswered points as the Bears chopped, sliced, and diced the Redskin offense. An offense that suddenly has more holes in it than... Meanwhile, under free-spirited Jim McMahon, the Bears have become the highest-scoring team in the NFC. The mobile McMahon threw 3 touchdown passes, including one to wonderful Walter Payton, number 34. The only quarterback controversy in Chicago is a friendly one between Payton and McMahon. Against the Redskins, Walter threw the 8th touchdown pass of his career. And fittingly, it went to a pretty fair receiver named McMahon. The unbeaten Bears devastated the Redskins 45-10. And like Sandberg's poem about Chicago, this team of big shoulders has big ambitions. Their first NFL title since 1963.
And hired assistant coach Hank Bulla.
These days, the Minnesota Vikings are sporting a robust look. They appear to be fully recovered from their injury-riddled season of 1984. But even as they tread back on this road to respectability, it is obvious that some of their players have some shaping up to do. Carrying a football in a 300-pound frame proved to be too much for Viking nose tackle Tim Newton. But he did manage to get out a 63-yard interception return that helped Minnesota pounce on Buffalo in the early going at Rich Stadium. Thanks to the efforts of the Vikings' Smurf-like receiving tandem of Leo Lewis, number 87, and Anthony Carter, number 81, Minnesota built up a healthy 17-point halftime lead. This was a contest that looked like it was going to be a runaway, mainly because every time Vince Ferragamo put his strong arm through a vigorous exercise, his receivers somehow treated the football like it was a dumbbell, too heavy to handle. Still, the Bills did make a game of it by flexing what little muscle they have on defense. The Vikings were shut out for most of the second half. But with the score tied at 20 in the waning minutes of the game, Minnesota jogged its memory and came up with the old Statue of Liberty play. Ted Brown's fourth quarter touchdown was the difference as the Vikings prevailed 27-20. While a trick up the sleeve is really nothing new for a Bud Grant coach team, it is a novelty for the New York Jet offense. After being beaten on this Ken O'Brien to Kurt Sohn flea flicker, the Indianapolis Colts decided that the only way to derail the Jets from any more deception was to get downright mean and physical. The hitting took its toll on both sides, and the field soon resembled a pinball machine with a player holding the football banging into a number of obstacles. Unfortunately for the Jets, Colts tight end Pat Beach proved to be a human wrecking ball who tallied up points. For a moment, it appeared that Beach was out for the count, but in reality, it was the Jet defense that was a-hurtin'. 3 starting defensive backs were lost for the game, a fact that struck home when Raymond Butler slithered through their secondary for a 72-yard score. The Colts were down by 5 and knocking on the Jets' doorstep late in the game when New York summoned what last ounce of strength it possessed in a furious goal line stand. Indianapolis came up short, and when all was said and done, it was the Jets who stood tall on the front end of a 25-20 victory. Although the Los Angeles Rams have gotten off to a good start, their new quarterback has not. But last Sunday, Dieter Brock did work up a good sweat. And with the aid of the fleet-footed Henry Ellard, number 80, the Ram offense finally showed the zip it desired when it signed the Canadian League veteran. Ellard's 64-yard touchdown reception provided L.A. with all the points they needed, since the Falcons were never to reach the end zone despite the effort of rookie punt returner Anthony Allen, number 85. Have yet to yield a rushing touchdown this season. And with the immobile Steve Bartkowski standing in the pocket, they handled Atlanta's pass attack as easily as they have been handling the run. It appears to be Los Angeles' own passing game that is making strides. And with Brock hitting on 16 of 20 for 2 touchdowns, the Rams disposed of the Falcons 17-6. The season is still young, but the undefeated Rams are shaping up as a team to contend with, while the winless Falcons face what looks like another exhausting season of defeat in Atlanta.
To our special guest, may feel that the USFL exchange may be in order. Our special guest is best known for a couple things. Number 1 is the Hail Mary pass that he threw against the University of Miami last year. And number 2...
6 different categories. David currently has a hit on the charts called Love Theme from St. Elmo's Fire. Here's Mr. David Foster.